could mirror that video. But yeah, it kicked up a big fuss. They sent like all these police cars. I think they've stopped him like 20 times or something, and then one time they stopped him with his son, and another time I don't know why they keep stopping him.
Yeah, I think who did that? Same Madman did a video about he just put the paper, or was it Bane? Not Bane. You just write down all your information and you stick the paper up to the
yeah,
window.
yeah, I love it. And it
And,
says, I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm not going to submit to search
right.
and all that stuff. It just was a piece of paper. I don't know if that's ever worked though.
I love those guys who have the balls to do that. I aspire to that.
Yeah. Oh, it's not difficult. You just need to learn the rhetoric and speak back, because they're on the legal standpoint that they're allowed to do what they're doing, but actually there's a legal standpoint that you can take that they're not allowed to stop you without reason. Your legal standpoint is actually above theirs, and the judge will cite that as well.
Yeah, you know, we have rights, and they just can't overlook our rights, but they do. You know, it's like they do it every day.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you about my friend who took the police to court for arresting him?
No, he didn't.
Did he?
Yeah. I got this friend. He's part of this freedom movement in Birmingham. I don't know if you know Birmingham in the UK. The police tried to arrest him for carrying handcuffs. So then he resisted arrest, and he actually punched the police officer in the face. And the police officer took him to court. And then in return, he took the police officers for false imprisonment and for false arrest. And he won. I don't know exactly how much he won, but he showed me the letter from the chief constable of Birmingham, stating
was he proud of that?
Totally awesome.
they would compensate. I wish he'd make that video and show that piece of paper, but he showed me all the documents. He showed me all the court papers. Yeah, he took it back to court, and they admitted liability. So good on that guy, you know. Well, a little victory there, guys.
Yeah, get them where you can take them.
They're so bad at this point. The police. It's so Orwellian. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Things have gone really upside down. I think people have to really, you know, I love Heartburn when he says shit like that. When he says you have to kill or be killed for your rights. I love that, and I think that's the point we're at now. I mean, people actually have to die before we get back to normality again. You know, when police are being accountable. You know, we always say, you know, record any encounter you have with a police officer, because that's gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad. It's really it's just reflective of the gynocentric state. You know, it's all gynocentrism. It's all a disregard for justice. You know.
Yeah, disregard for justice, disregard for etiquette, disregard for honor. There's just no etiquette, no honor. It's like this strange guy out of nowhere, just because he gets paid $10 an hour to come shaft you over and give you a ticket. It's not within his right. He's not within his jurisdiction to do that. You know, you are allowed to travel anywhere you want in your country. You're allowed to do and travel anywhere you want, so long as you're not hurting anyone or taking anybody else's rights. They can't just stop you in your own vehicle just because they want to do a check on you. No. That's totally wrong, guys.
Yeah, we always hear this thing, protect and serve, and none of that is protecting or serving.
No.
They're just tax people. They're just tax men for the big corporations, and that's totally against what the police was set up for.
Oh yeah. Do you guys got dash cams or anything?
No.
No. My son just bought one.
That's a great idea.
They were cheap somewhere. It's about the size of a half a cigarette pack almost, and he just puts it up there and it records everything that he does while he's driving.
That's a great idea. I got to get one of those.
Yeah. You know what happened? It'll be very misogynistic. He says he was driving and this woman hit him and then lied. Imagine that. So he went and bought a dash cam after that, and he says, I got to protect myself.
Yeah, I always think of the cops having those, but it never occurred to me to, and you know, you have your cell phone, but it never occurred to me to get your own dash cam. I mean, that's a really, because it's always on and it's always there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very cheap now. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, you can see how militarized they've gotten, because around here they used to have like normal cars, like normal kind of like just some regular cop car, but nowadays they've switched to like full on like suburban. They're like lowered suburban urban assault vehicles. That's what all the
yeah,
cop
they
cars
are.
are around here now.
Yeah. I think you get one for $29.99 now, or $23 on Amazon. And they go up to like a couple $100, but the cheap ones, you know, do their job. And
Well, it records. Does it like? Is it connected to like the cloud, or where does it save the video?
let me see. It's in 1080p, black box, traveling, driving data, camera record. Looks like the one my son's got. It's $29.99, and it's 2.7 inches. I said it was rather small, and let me see how long it does record. 120 degree resolution, 4x. It's got a USB interface. I don't know how many pixels that will, or what is going to record, the time it's going to record. They kind of leave those. Oh, it's 32 gigabytes. The card in
32
there.
gigs.
Yeah, so I suppose that would record quite a bit. You know, you're 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, or whatever you're doing. Then you turn it off, and then it probably erases, or you know, saves, and then turns off after a certain point, or erases.
Totally.
Yeah. Let me see. No one's saying how long it'll actually record for. Thousands of ratings, and no one says, "Hey, well, I keep mine for 10-minute recording loop." Okay, they see you can record the loop on it. He says he does 10-minute recording loops, and yeah, that's pretty good. You do a loop, do a 10-minute recording that dumps the last recording. Then another guy says 1 to 15-minute loops.
That's a great idea. And then if you get something that you need, you just press save, I guess, right?
Yeah, press save probably. That's the way. I figure that's the way it should be done. And yeah, that's pretty cool to have. And you know, 15 minutes for a traffic stop. That's about your average traffic stop where the police is going to give you. You can record what he pulled you over for and what he said, and that's important. You know, because sometimes they just walk up to the car and you go, "Well, what did I do?" And he says, "Well, you know," and then you'll start looking around and says, "I need to check your car," or "You look funny," you know, or
Right.
whatever, you know, whatever his reasoning is, or if you have that going too, it'll show what you did up to like 5 minutes before that too, and it's like, wait a second, I didn't do that. You just pulled me over because you want to tax me, you know. And then you'll be able to show what you did. If he says you were weaving, you have the recording to prove that you weren't weaving.
That's awesome, huh?
Yeah, and that's the one they get you on all the time. How many times have you been pulled over in your life for weaving?
I never have, but I've always known that they could, you know.
Yeah.
And just knowing that is like they could just pull me over and say, "Are you drunk? You were weaving." It's like,
Yeah,
no, I'm within my lane.
I stayed in my lane. I got in the right lane, and yeah, that's the last time I got a ticket. That's what he pulled me over for. Then he started piling it on.
Oh, one thing
more and more, yeah.
One thing they do in the UK is they'll say that they can smell cannabis in your car, which will permit them to do a search.
Right.
Now, what you say is, I dispute that. And what you can do, which is what my friend did, he pulls a member of public aside and he says, "Excuse me, could you just come clarify that my car does not smell like cannabis?" And he did it. He got it all captured on camera. Fantastic. Obviously, it's two people's word against the police officers now instead of just the
brilliant.
Police. Yeah, that's what he did. Smart guy.
That's really good.
Yeah. Because obviously, if you refuse a search, the police, they can't search your car.
Yeah. So you basically just have to say, "I dispute that."
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's because usually they get you nervous, right? It's like you're nervous and you don't know what to do. But if you know what to do, then you can block them, right?
No, you say to them, I do not consent to searches. I do not consent to searches, and they can't search your car. They'll ask for your name and address. And I've seen people, obviously, that they put their videos on. I've seen people, they refuse to give their name and address. So I'm not telling you my. In fact, there's that famous what's his name, Batouche guy. What's his? Let me just find out the name of his account. But he's taking the police to court because the police forcibly took him into custody for refusing to give his name and address.
Really?
Yeah, and the Batusai guy, Batusai, and it's long ongoing thing. And the thing is, it just kept on escalating to the point where now it's gone to the courts, and they've you just have to watch it. You know, they assaulted him again when he went to the police station to submit his complaint. So he went to the police station to submit a complaint, and they assaulted him in the police station. They beat him up for filming. So he went to the police station with his camera, and they said, "Look, are you filming?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, turn it off," and he refused to turn it off. So they basically sent him to hospital. So now it's escalated to beyond that. But what will happen in court? It will go all the way back down to the original offence, which was not giving your name and address. Whether or not he has a legal obligation to give it or not, it's another thing. So it should be interesting to see what happens on that one.
Man, things are bad. Things are real bad.
It's Sheriff of Nottingham time, as you say, Trav.
Sheriff of Nottingham. Hey, you had an interesting story before we started, or did we start with your friends came over?
What, my friends?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had to disappear from the previous podcast because four of my friends came over. It's a pity I don't see them more often, but yeah, they came over, we had lunch, and and guess what we talked about?
That was the interesting part. Yeah.
Oh man, we talked purely men's issues. I told them about. I don't use the term because if you start using the terms Mgtow and mangina and simp, and people they don't understand these terms, they're only going to they think you've been patronising. So you have to speak it in terms that they'll understand. And you should have seen their faces. These four guys sat around the table. Their eyes were just fixed upon me. Their eyes were just fixed. It's like, wow. It's like they were just. And then, you should have seen it.
You're a prophet. You're a prophet.
Yeah, like listening to Angry Harry for the first time, huh?
No. You should have. The eyes were fixed and the jaws were just wide open. And I was telling them about how men are not human beings. They're considered utilities. How men are the first to die and sacrifice the most, but they're the last to receive recognition and the last to be rewarded. And it's something we discussed yesterday, wasn't it, Trav, with another Mgtow brother. He was saying that people, they're just not ready. You know, blue pill guys, you just can't convert them. But you want to say, and I remember I was saying to him, I said, no, that's not the case. There's a lot of guys, if you explain what's going on, it's like, this is exactly what they were trying to put into words. Yeah. And the thing is, and this is my point, is these guys that came over, these were all Western Muslim men. These were all Muslims. You know, these were all Muslims. So, one of the guys as well, I've been telling you about this guy, he got falsely accused of sexual abuse, sexually abusing his children. Yeah. Wow. And two of these guys, they were Pakistanis, married with children. And I'm telling you, I'm sorry to say,
Gynocentrism knows no boundaries, man.
It's there, and I'm telling these guys how it is, and I'm spelling it out to them. They're hearing it for the first time. I'm saying to them, look, when your wives came over, yeah, they were traditionally Pakistan, had a Muslim, a submissive Muslim wife, sort of a mental attitude. But then what happened? They started listening to Yasmin, Azerbaijan. They started listening to all these feminists, all these. Gynocentric stories all around them, and now if your wife does anything wrong, you can't say anything to her. If your wife is angry at you or you slap her or anything like that, or even if you yell at her, she calls the police. You're spending the night in prison.
You're screwed, yeah.
You should have seen these guys, man. They didn't say a thing.
Oh yeah,
they know it's true.
We are under the impression that a lot of these guys are under the impression that you go get a foreign bride or something, and I always said that's totally wrong because it gives them too many opportunities. But I see it all the time around here, and we have a lot of immigration, and the girls come from very traditional backgrounds. In our case, it's Hispanic, Mexican, Brazilian, and they get up here, and things are different. They're allowed to, they look at the other girls yelling at their wives, and all of a sudden they catch on real quick that gynocentrism, the way of the land, and I could do whatever I want. And so what they thought they had what they thought they had wasn't really what they had. It was what they had until they got Americanized or got Westernized, but then they started acting like women.
It is fascinating to see the just sort of you know, immigrant females. They come to the States, and just their whole demeanor is a certain way, and then I just watch it incrementally over a period of time. You know, lots of women at work, they start out one way, and then they just morph over time. They start wearing, you know, all the
jeans.
The jeans, exactly. They get into all the consumer wear, and they realize, little by little, you see that they're realizing how much power they have, and they're just becoming totally corrupted by it, and they just turn into these. And then, okay, so the culmination is when you have basically like a first generation immigrant who's a feminist, right? So now you're going to a country. It's like going over to someone's house, and then within like a month, you're telling them how to run their fucking household. You know, you're like, you know, because when you see it's common these days with these sort of multicultural feminists. They're you know, they have really thick accents. They're sort of borderline speak the language, but yet they're talking about patriarchy here, you know, and they're talking about how women are oppressed. And you're like, how are, you know, who are you to come and like what? It just doesn't make sense.
Where they get that language? Yeah, I've seen this with I worked with this Jewish girl for a while, and she came over, and nice girl and everything. I had nothing bad to say about her, but first she was wearing the long black gown. And then slowly, like, you know, the stuff came off, and then she started wearing makeup. And then about 2 years later, I walked by, and I looked at her, and she was in a pair of sexy ass tight jeans. And I looked at her, I was like, wow, you do have a nice ass. And she was like, yeah. And then she got all Americanized, and she was like, yeah, and I'm allowed to show it off.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been watching these guys' family develop. I mean, I was there before. I knew all these guys when they were at school. You know, I grew up with these guys. I've known these guys for decades, and I've watched them, you know, go from that very gynocentric attitude where, you know, they can't wait to get married, they can't wait to have children, and then they get married. You know, they import a wife because their parents are actually quite smart. Their parents know they don't want to marry someone from the West, so they bring someone from back overseas, and obviously it's fine for a couple of years for a while. And I used to visit the guy, and I used to bring my ex over, and we used to have like family get together, and I could see how his family would develop, and really the pants, you know, as they say, the pants have changed sides, and now she wears she wears a shoe on the head.
She's got a shoe on the head. I love that term.
Shoe on the head. And yeah, you know, she tells him where to go. She tells him what to do. Whereas before it was the man that was deciding. Okay, I think this is what's best for the children. This is what's best for their future, and he's planning it all out. And all she cares about is what other people think about her, what the neighbours think, what the teachers at school think, what the social services think, that's what she cares about, is how other people will think about her.
Right, because that's where she's getting all her power from. She knows it comes from the broader community, the corrupt broader community. As Traversable, basically it all comes back to health and human services. Motherfuckers.
Back to health and human services. They're putting the game plan out there, and women are. I told you guys my story about doing guard duty one day.
But that didn't go well.
Yeah, I was at the VA, and I was signing up for something. I can't remember what I was signing, healthcare or something. And the two police officers that were normally at the Health and Human Services thing, they didn't show up, and they were looking for somebody with military police background, and they came in, and I was the only guy sitting there. I didn't really want to do it, and they said, well, Joe, all you got to do, you'll get paid for the day, all you got to do is sit in front of this door and make sure no one comes in. I was like, cool. So I get in front of this door, and the door is open, and I can hear what they're talking about, and it's like 40 women in this classroom, and guess what the class was called? It was called a prenatal care. by Health and Human Services. You know what it was? It was, and I looked around. Not one of those not one of those women were pregnant. They were talking about how to go out, get a man, get pregnant, come back to Health and Human Services, run them through Health and Human Services, and then they had their slave, their baby daddy.
That's incredible.
I was like, oh, they're teaching women that down there at that place now.
Yeah. Things are bad, guys. Things are bad.
The funny thing is, the conversation started by one of my friends asking me how my search for another wife was going.
How's that going, Shiny?
How's that search going? Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I obviously explained to him. The funny thing is, we were sat on a table where two guys had been taken to court, lost their kids through false allegations. Yeah, but guys, it's just a vicious cycle.
Was this like the what's that book? I'm trying to dig it up. It's a book where the guys from the neighborhood come over and ask him, and they start digging into his life and saying, "Well, aren't you going to get married, John? Don't you have a girlfriend? Don't you think the time the community benefits from you having a girlfriend and everything?" And it's like, were they doing that thing? Like,
is it failure to launch? Is that what you're?
Well, the thing is, I mean, the main argument is that it's not natural for a man to be alone, and you know, men and women are naturally supposed to be together. But then, obviously, you come back at them with the point that the marriage these days is anything but natural. You know how women they take the role of the man, how they take over, and they don't act how, let's face it, how we normally perceive how a woman should act. And I think yeah, I mean, it's not a natural situation.
Right, they think they're doing you a favor or something by having the man talk with you because there's something you're missing here. Oh, the book was called Babbitt by Lewis and Kerr. It was written in 1918 or 1923. You ever read Babbitt? Yeah, it's about a father that's going through he's having an affair, and it's a good Mgtow book to read, and he lives in a very normal community, and the guys from the community during that time, they have the Rotary Club, and they kind of start coming over and they start talking to him about what he's doing wrong and and they're going to fix him. You know, they think they're going to fix you.
Babbitt, yeah, right. That was the name of Rain Man. That was the name of the brothers.
Yeah. That's where they take that's where they take the character from, Babbitt.
There you go.
Yeah, there's no, you know, a female does not complete a male. That's a myth.
Oh, that's a myth.
It's just not true.
Such a big lie, too, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm so. If you just have to, like, if you measure your happiness level when you're around females, I don't really see how you can. It's always like a tension. There's always a power struggle. You know, it's always, you know, competition for domination. So, you know, they're trying to sell that when you sink into a relationship with a female, then you're home. You know, then everything falls into place. Everything, you know, you're happy and all that. But you know, and I think Alex on Life does a really good job of articulating how, in reality, males and females are incompatible. That's the language he uses a lot. They're incompatible, and it's so very true. They're not. It's an inherently adversarial relationship. So, yeah, I think, you know, men going their own way is much more. If they really wanted him to be happy, if they really wanted Johnny to be happy, they would tell him, "Hey, Johnny, go your own way, bud."
Oh yeah.
What's sad to see is how it's affecting the children. Because obviously, when a man he has a family, he's got the future of his children at heart. You know, he wants them to have a good education, wants them to have a good start. He wants them to be sane and mentally and physically healthy. Obviously, that's not going to happen if you send them to a government gynocracy school. And a lot of men know that. You'd be surprised. They don't need to be truthers or conspiracy theorists. They know that government schools, government-run schools, are nothing more than brain polluting centers where a lot of abuse happens, a lot of bullying happens. Children come out of there completely depleted of spirit, of creativity, and of being human beings. You know, it's a very very destructive, toxic place for children. And men, you'll be surprised, most men know this, so they don't want to send their children to these type of schools. You know, what's popular, what's getting popular in the UK is homeschooling. I think it doubles every year, the amount of people that want to homeschool. The council don't mind because they save a lot of money.
Yeah, they save a lot of money. That's why they'll separate your kids and divide them. And in these schools, what they are is big, what I call queuing centers. They teach kids how to queue and get in line.
They teach kids how to comply, how to be compliant.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, the homeschooling thing has been a trend out here as well, shining in the States for a while. I don't know right now if it's growing or on decreasing, but there's a fair bit of a movement out here for that. But you gotta avoid that that communist state system. It's horrible.
Think about it, guys. Think about it. Your children are your most precious, objects, for lack of words, in the world. There's nothing more valuable to you than your children, and you'll send them out for 5, 6, 7 hours a day to people you don't know, to a place you don't know what takes part in these four walls, to basically be indoctrinated. You know,
just have their minds polluted with garbage.
Yeah, and you know, if you're smart, you'll find a good school. You know, a school that has let's face it, a good record for producing upstanding, well-to-do, perfectly well-adjusted, creative, and energetic and healthy.
All male school.
Oh, yeah, now we're talking. If not, you'll educate them yourselves. And I mean, to men, this makes perfect sense, but to women, they don't see what are you talking about? You know, the Joneses next door, they don't homeschool. You know,
they can't teach them the gynocracy and how they rule.
Exactly.
I know, and this is what I've seen amongst my friends. They started off down this road. You know, they started off with, okay, if we can't find a good school, a school with good what you would call SAT scores, etc. We'll homeschool, and it starts off like that. But then, when the years go by, and she realizes that really she's got total power over this man, she has a say in everything. And unfortunately, I think this is where a lot of the arguments and the fallouts and divorces happen. It's when the men see their children sliding down that slope that, you know, let's face it, everyone else in society is going down, because that's where.
So did you think when you were talking to your friends, we hear it all the time, do you think it's a myth that we tell ourselves that these guys aren't going to get it? We hear it all the time around here, and that's one of the biggest excuses I get on my my blog, my vlog, whatever, video vlog, and my channel.
Your vlog.
My vlog, yeah, I'll call it by the trendy name. And, with the most comments I get is these guys aren't going to get it. Just forget about them. But this morning you had the opportunity to actually go out there in life, and you know, in real life, we all deal with real life every day, and we don't talk about this enough. When we approach men, they do get it, don't they?
Yeah, like I said, everybody I talk to do.
Yeah, I've had mixed results. I think it's all very context dependent. It depends where they're at that particular time in life, and where they're at in their headspace, you know, whether or not they're going to be receptive, or they're going to just put up that wall that, like, no, you know, whatever.
We need a sales pitch, don't we?
Well, maybe that's maybe, because obviously all my friends.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's pretty much, I think. Sorry,
most of my friends are in their late 30s or early 40s. And obviously, you, MF, your friends will be in their late teens, early 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a guy, you know, buddy of mine, just straight up all-American kind of a guy, and I bring up the things, and, you know, one thing that gets in the way with men is when they have a daughter. They become really, their emotionalism it really is vulnerable when they have a daughter, and they'll be like, they won't, their gynocentrism just goes through the fucking roof, right? They
Oh, a
can't,
lot of them,
they
yeah.
can't hear anything besides everything, you know, they want to, because that whole, the white knighting just gets, you know, on steroids. So I found it hard to get through to him because he sees everything through the eyes of my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. But you know, I mean, yeah, Messenger, there's just a comment right here.
Messenger has a daughter, yeah.
He does. I absolutely respect how he's able to separate his you know, love for his daughter from the whole gynocentrism. I mean, he does an amazing job of that.
I think I have a daughter. She's 28, and I think when I say these things to her, I think that I'm protecting her. I take it as it's more protection to know about Mgtow, and it's more protection for her to know about how, you know, we discuss in here half of the time how men are too.
You do a great, absolutely. You're exactly another perfect example. Traversable. Yeah, that's like, it's a totally different way of thinking. On one thinking, men are like, I have to coddle my daughter, and therefore I need to generate all this special privilege that comes along with this feminist thinking. On the other hand, you have someone like you who sees that you should treat them exactly the same. You know, that's the bottom line.
Equal, and yeah, there's a lot of useful stuff for a young lady in here. And if we all love our daughters and everything. That if they get it, they're going to be as well off in life as if a man would get it too. I mean, be responsible, be accountable. You know, I hate to, you know, use the term, don't be sexing around or anything like that. And you tell your daughter that anyways. But you tell her all these things that you apply in your life, and show her how to do that just the same you would do with a boy. And go to school, do that. And these things that we say aren't uncommon to society, you know. As you're just trying to give them the best start in life that you can. And Mgtow's a great tool. And that's always my thing about, let's make Mgtows, because that assists in our cause.
Yeah.
But on the other end, like you said, there are these men out there that got a couple daughters, and I find, you know, they are very, very protective, and it's the gynocentric go girl. They cower to them. But aren't those the same men that would be wimps anyways, and simps and beggars?
Yeah, I think so. The whole, that's the pernicious thing about gynocentrism, is it has so many tentacles. You know, you could take a guy who's relatively, he may be kind of like masculine in a way, but then he gets a daughter, and then he snaps and he goes full on, you know, gynocentrism.
Gynocentric. Size don't matter. We were talking about that earlier about football players. You know, we're going to get the witness here pretty soon, the American draft in football. And you're going to see them big old hunking, you know, just like they were sculpted out of some kind of marble. Guys go up there and they're going to go, I owe this all to my mama.
That would be a shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they do.
Emasculation.
Yeah, it's totally like, I wouldn't be the man I am if she didn't give me Campbell's soup every day and love me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my God, that's so bad.
I'm a lumberjack.
Lumberjack. I love that. What was that?
Monty Python.
Monty Python. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Skits. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
Yeah, he's I always wondered about the origin of that sketch, and I think, well, I like to think that he's imagining he's been brought up by a single mother, because he ends up wanting to be like his mother.
Stuff and panties and stuff, you know. But we see these totally huge masculine men, and then when it comes to their mother, realizing that he was raised by a single baby mama and his life was probably awful, and he made it better, and now she's going to ride that betterness, you know, to the grave, and you know, right to the bank, and they don't see it. And,
you know what makes me laugh? What I found strange is the social services. They see this. They're right on the front line. They can see the devastation, the effects of a society brought up by single mothers.
Yeah.
And we all make jokes about in British society. There's a huge underlying feeling of basically all single mothers are going to hell. That's how we put it. They're all going to hell. But seriously speaking, though, it really is. I think didn't TFM just mention it in the previous podcast? He said we can't understate it enough, the damage it's done to society being brought up by single mothers, and it really is a fucked up situation here.
Yeah,
you know, I agree with him on that 100%. We can't underestimate.
They will take the most successful men that come from a single and put them so they're the exception to the rule, like the football player or the guy that, you know, the brilliant man that was raised, and they'll put him up there and they'll show the world that exceptional man that was raised by a single mom, and she'll be like all waving in her face like, oh, I did that, I made that, and but they're never going to show the 80% of single mama, baby mama's sons
in jail, in prison, in gangs.
Okay, so then that begs the question: what about men that take on other men's children?
That's in the stepdaddy.
Yeah, the stepdad.
The stepdad's the worst, or the guy that just shows up to fuck the baby mama. And he's like, he's the guy, little man, you got to man up because you're gonna have to take care of your mom now. He's the guy that's telling that 8-year-old boy that he's got to man up to take care of his mom because he's getting some of that pussy. That's the worst pathetic. That's the Roosh V's and the MRA guys and the guys that do them things. We don't do that. We from day one, and the thugtician will tell you over and over and over, men, white, black, whatever you are, Muslim, Christian, do not fuck the baby mamas.
But that's the norm now, isn't it? That's the norm now. Most guys.
Here, I agree with that.
Because guess what you're gonna be? You're gonna be baby daddy number 2 soon. Because she
did
it once, she'll do it, or 3 or 4. Yeah, she did it once, she did it twice, she'll do it again. And I've seen so many men fall for that trap. And then he's going, I don't know what happened, you jerk.
Well, how about that? How about that man that's screwing around with that woman that's got 4 or 5, you know, multiple children. We're not talking about one now. We're talking a few children from different men. Yeah. And he's like number 4 or 5, and he's in there.
He's in there.
Yeah.
I mean, does it get more decrepit than that? Is there a bigger...
No, it's like you're looking at 5 little children running around there, and you're going, you know, one's Irish, one's Italian, you're going, so you got to be scratching your head and going, something's a little off here. And she's telling you she's the freaking the Walt.
Guys, have you seen my video? Have you seen my video? Where have all the good women gone?
Yeah.
And I've given 4 examples of celebrity men. And on the last one, that man, he's on the 5th child now. he's with this woman. I always forget her name, but she was a singer. And he's with this woman. He was a singer as well, and he's daddy number 5.
Oh, is that the new? They just put out some a new one the other day. I was skipping past it on the Bobby Knight, was it, and Whitney Houston, or no, not Bobby Knight and Whitney Houston. There was some new one. They've been going through the baby mamas and the singers lately on TV and glorifying them.
Well, that's catastrophic myth number 2, right? The idea of the blended family. The blended family. It's a lie. They have sold it as if, oh, you just blend the families, but that shit is a lie. 9 times out of 10, what you're talking about earlier, Traversable, which is it's dysfunctional. If you break that biological bond, and then the new male or whatever or female no longer have that investment and that bond, it's completely irreplaceable, or it's all but irreplaceable. You know, as far as foster children, that's a whole other thing. But you're just never going to get that quality that you would otherwise.
All goes back to health. Once they figure out they can do it once, and they're in Health and Human Services under their umbrella. Guess what happens there? They get, I don't know if it's 4% now that they take, if anybody can correct me here. It may be up to 10%. So if they get 4 baby daddies, guess what that is? That's 40%. That's better than 4% every day. Or 10%. Health and Human Services make money on this stuff.
I don't know, guys. I mean, but I'm appealing to the guys out there. I mean, how low must your self-esteem be you're screwing with this woman, and you're looking at all these kids. You see their nappies and their shoes and their clothes about the house, and you're gonna now stick your cock inside this woman, and she's like popped out all these babies, had all these cocks inside. But you know, how bad does it have to get? I mean, guys, come on. I mean, there's lots of. I mean, if you're going to be PUA, do it right. You know, don't go for these shriveled up.
But it becomes a game of numbers at that point, right? Like, it's why the system either has to be in place, or if it's not, everything falls apart. Because now, if you have 50% of females who are single moms, now you've reduced the available, the population for men by dramatically. So you could say, don't mess with these women, but then there's nowhere else to go because there's only a few other. So the numbers get all fucked up when the system falls apart.
Right. Did you ever do the math on that?
It's bad, right?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Do you know what I think? I think there's a bunch of PUAs out there. These guys, they think they're players. They think that they're pulling one over on the system. It's like, I bet these guys, they're sleeping around with other single baby mamas, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because whatever he found her, whatever he picked her up from, he's probably picking up other women. So he's like doing it all, going all over the place. Because I find it hard to believe that you'll have like an honourable, loyal man that's going to do that. He's like, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life now to this family. Yeah. These kids from other men. I don't know.
I've got a cousin who just did that, and I got an uncle who did that. He took on a woman with like 3 kids. It's like, it's fucking insane, man. And
ready-made family.
Yeah, right. Because basically I can see he got divorced by his ex, and this is a good guy. He's like all American, good looking, good job, everything. Okay, but you can see the divorce crushed him, his identity, like his whole sense of self, and so he ran out, and he had to replace that. So what he found was this woman who already has a bunch of kids, and you can just see how manipulative she is, and she knows. He's classic blue pill, and I just watch her pull his strings, and it's just fucking depressing, man. It's depressing.
Oh, God. How can you do? Yeah, that would be. I don't know. I got more standards and morals than that, but hey, obviously, guys like that. Like I said, it's that ready-made bread. All you got to do is throw it in the oven, and you get 6 loaves. Wow. God.
That is a it's one way to look at the whole thing. It's like the CAD versus the dad society, the gynocracy versus the patriarchy, whatever. But you just bring it down to that. In the gynarchy or the matriarchy, you're going to get more quantity. You can get six buns in the oven. You get all the kids you want, but the quality is going to be shitty. The
quality's really low.
Okay.
These PUAs, Shiny was saying before, the PUAs. They go. Can you you got to visualize this as you the quality of women and where they go and look. They're going to bars. I mean, they're not going to churches to look for our bingo halls. They're not going to they're not just incidentally meeting a girl at the laundry match.
Websites. It's Reddit. No, what sort of Reddit? What's that thing they use? Tumblr.
They're using these. They're going to the bars and they're getting that quality of female, and them are the baby mamas that are sitting around drinking drunk and going, "Yeah, my baby daddy I got the check today, and I'm getting drunk." That's what they're looking for. That's what they're getting. They're going to Tumblr where the girls
Tinder, yeah.
Tinder. She got 6 pounds of makeup on her face and doing the uppy shot, so she looks skinny.
Yeah.
And, man, that's PUA.
She's using like a photograph from 8 years ago when she was 20, and her vagina was still stuck together, not flapping around in the wind.
Not flapping around. It looks like a big old. I don't even want to say what.
It looks like a doner kebab.
Doner kebab. Is that a clam?
Blown to hell.
Slices of beef.
Oh my God!
It's an Arby's sandwich or something.
MLM, James. Thank you for that.
A couple of slices of meatloaf flapping about underneath there under those knickers.
And that's what they wanted. That's what the whole thing. That was all the effort that and all the learning and all the catchphrases and pumping themselves up, all they got is that. You know, that's disappointing. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
It's a terrible return, terrible ROI. Come on, man.
I don't know. I think men just sell themselves short. I
Yeah.
really think men just sell themselves short.
Oh God, I could see him bragging about it too. Did you see her? Yeah, and the other guy's going, yeah, everybody's seen her.
I don't know. It's a sorry situation.
Yeah, I was thinking it's, you know, you get the alphas and the betas, and it's like, you know, women, they just want to fuck the alphas.
Sorry, I was just reading the comments.
What do you
We
got?
got any funny one?
Well, Johnny, how does Eric know what a doner kebab is? Yeah, Johnny is saying the doner isn't worth the sauce.
The doner is worth the sauce.
Because normally it's traditional to put like chili sauce on your doner kebab. Yeah, tahina. These guys, they're really showing their where they're from. Nice ones, eaters.
Yeah.
How does Eric know what a doner kebab is? Isn't he American?
Oh, Eric is Swedish? Or
Is he Swedish?
Sweden or one of those not Islamic, Islamic states.
Yeah, sorry, MF. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. You was about to say something.
What was it's the sauce isn't worth the squeeze?
No, the doner isn't worth the sauce.
With the sauce, yeah.
Did you guys ever look up a picture of a doner kebab?
We're gonna do that right now.
Have a little look. See what a doner kebab is.
And or
E-R, yeah,
Kebab. I don't know if I spelled that right though. Oh, they have one in Cleveland. It looks like a big sandwich.
Yeah, it's a sandwich, and it's all splurging out in the middle with meat.
Yeah, it's all okay. I see what. Yep, that's what it looks like.
I just got it.
Let's go to images. Let's pull up a big one. Oh yeah, it's got vegetables in there that probably were lodged in there for months.
Where's Messenger? He's good at these gross images.
It's kind of like a gyro, but a sandwich, right?
Oh yeah. Oh God, that's awful.
And then you've got the cream, the as Zeta points out, the tahina sauce, which is white there, and all these images. I don't know. I think men could do better.
Yeah, men can definitely do better. And then men. I don't know how many times I said it, men have a little dignity. You know, when they get a scent of whatever that smells like, they just go nuts, don't they? It's like cinnamon and, they go, ooh, it's cinnamon and bubble gum, It's like, that's what they think. But no, that's not cinnamon and bubble gum.
I know.
It's acid and turpentine.
Yeah, nasty. Paint remover.
The little bacteria is, it's got a bacteria MLM.
Yeah, those women ain't so pure anymore.
Oh God! But
Cyanide pill.
Yeah, you might as well shoot yourself. Take it. It's like, oh man.
So what else was big this week, guys, in Mgtow world?
Yeah. What else did we come up with there? There was the censorship, and before that, well, I can't remember what we were talking about the other day. We found a new bunch of deviants.
Yeah.
Which ones?
We were
talking about the nationalists or what?
Oh no, this.
Oh no, we've got well, we were talking about Mgtow. This woman from over the side of Mgtow, she says she's going to set up Mgtow.
What's Mgtow?
Is everyone going their own way?
Yeah, everybody can go their own way. Well, that's what we got.
Everyone's welcome.
It's just the Mgtow moniker. You get a little badge with your name on it. We can write the name on it like a sticker, and then now you're Mgtow.
Yeah.
You know what's hilarious about that? Because that's how they start, right? They say, oh, everyone go their own way, and then now everyone's included, and then really soon they're going to start to make it gynocentric again,
Yeah, yeah. All kids
That's
get to
how it'll work.
play. Yeah, all kids got to play, and we got to play by their rules. But they don't realize we're not playing by their rules. We're not asking permission
Right.
to do what we're doing, and they can't play. We are exclusive.
I saw just last night another invasion of male space. It was actually older. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's actually a year or two old, but it was a feminist convention on Bitcoin.
Oh my God!
Have you guys seen that?
Oh, they're gonna go screw up Bitcoin, spend all
They're
the
gonna go
money,
fuck up Bitcoin, dude.
take loans against Bitcoin, and then default on them.
Well, they're pulling the classic. Yeah, these five feminist, women sit up there on stage, and they talk about how they're excluded. Women are excluded from Bitcoin, and we have to make Bitcoin more inclusive for women.
What was this? A TEDx talk or something?
It wasn't TEDx. It sounds like it would be though.
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah, women are
some
included in
university or
silver. Yeah, they just can't buy silver because that's patriarchy's got all the silver.
I have TEDx blocked, so I never see their videos come up. I haven't seen a TEDx video come up on my alerts for 2 years.
The heart and soul of the feminist TEDx it's just so dripping with feminism.
All that feminine goodness.
Sunshine and butterflies, isn't it?
Peace, love, and joy, except for those who disagree with me.
Except for any man that accidentally wanders into that space and then walks out with his head exploded.
Yeah, well, one day you guys will have a female hate video made against you, and then you can join me on my level.
Yeah, you're exclusive now. You're on the top of the food chain.
I'm up. I'm up there with Mayor of Mgtow. I think TFM made a claim that what's her name, the Laughing Witch made a video about him, but I'm not counting that one because she was making an argument against something that he said rather than just him. But yeah, this woman, she really took exception to me personally, which I'm actually really proud of. None of you have got a hate video.
Yeah, have you got your downvote trolls going now, and they're flagging your videos, trying to get you taken off of and trying to figure out where you live?
It all stemmed from that Serena Nightshade lady. You remember her? She came around the Mgtow space a while ago.
Yeah, this one that attacks you, she goes kind of the other one jumped in on it because she wanted to be a part of attacking Mgtow. She had no idea what it was or anything, and then they just want to be a part of the group, so they come over and attack.
Yeah, they've got this little group of women that have blocked their exes from seeing their children, and they're like constantly trying to reassure each other that they did the right thing. And then as soon as I jumped in and say, all I said was, let fathers see their kids, you muteless meat holes. They all got offended, like I said something wrong. you know I was telling the truth, and they just didn't want to hear it.
Let the father see the kid. Yeah, but she says she got shut up real fast the other day. She said they don't want their fathers, and all their fathers are narcissists, and they all agree that they all have narcissistic fathers, and they're all this and they're all that. And then she says, well, my boyfriend likes this. And I says, was that boyfriend before you left the husband?
Yeah, these women. Oof.
God.
It's bad, gentlemen. It's bad. And getting worse.
She was. She was super offended that I called her old. Did you guys see the video? She was so offended. Oh, he said I was old.
Yeah, she is.
You are old. You're about 100 years old.
She got like 9 pounds of makeup on, and she got the eye inserts to make them blue, and the hair dyed, and she's going for the uppy pictures, on there.
That's why I use the profile picture to promote my video, because obviously they can see what a looker she is, so they'll click on my video. Clickbait.
Yeah, clickbait.
Sex sells shining. Wow.
She got offended. I said that's hard to masturbate to.
I can't believe you got away with that. He says, "Oh, I wish she had a sweeter voice because the picture's hard to masturbate to."
She came on. And did you see her comments after that?
Yeah. She's deleted about 50 comments because if you click onto her video, it'll show you the amount of comments that was posted. But when you count the comments, obviously only half of them are there. So she's deleted most of the video, the comments.
Every time she loses an argument, she's like, "That never existed."
that never happened.
That never happened. Yeah, that's too hard to take. You know. And she's talking about narcissism.
Oh my God. He never said that.
He never said that. I couldn't possibly be that. She's talking about narcissism, and she's probably one of those reverse narcissists that just found some enjoyment on YouTube because she could just rub all the men the wrong way and do her little narcissistic thing, and
right, get attention.
Get attention.
Was you not proud? Was you not proud of the guys? They just jumped on her channel and they just said very plain things, and they just flooded her video, flooded all the downvotes. And I'm so proud of you guys.
Good. Yeah, they kept
well done, Mgtow. Well done.
They threw her some pudding, then attacked.
Yeah, they shared some pudding with her, and then put some salt on there, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And I knew she was going to start deleting the comments, so I mirrored the video on my channel. Yeah, so proud of you guys.
I got them all pics too. I'm gonna make a video maybe next week about this, and then go down through every comment and dissect it.
Yeah, well done, Mgtow. Very pleased with you
guys. Yeah, you guys are great. I love these guys around.
The last time we saw this happen was when VK Clark, the beautiful, gorgeous, sexy VK Clark came onto the Mgtow scene, and she started dissing Mgtow. It was quite funny, you know. She started saying all these things about Mgtow, which she got from observing a couple of channels, and eventually the mayor picked up on her. Woo!
He picked on her big time, didn't he? He went in depth about her.
Yeah, and then obviously she made an all-out attack video on him, which, by the way, was hilarious. So VK Clark, if you're out there trying to issue that, but she got taken off the internet. I don't think. Where's Mgtow? Mgtow was stalking for a while.
Yeah, he followed the whole event, the VK Clark event. She was nuts, but she said she was a what'd she say she was? She said she was a Mgtow because she was not having sex. What do you call that? Asexual, didn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She says that the idea of having sex with a man makes her physically sick.
Yeah, so you think she was just a dyke?
Oh, she says she's not lesbian. She's just not going to have sex anymore. I bet she's having sex. She's such a liar.
Yeah, she's sneaking off to the bar at night and meeting PUAs, you know.
She's such a liar. I bet she's having sex.
Oh.
Well,
yeah.
Well, Nico volunteered to have sex with her.
Take one for the team.
He volunteered to do it, so I don't know. Maybe we could make that happen and make internet Mgtow history.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have a little VK Clark half Nico baby.
No offense, Nico. No offense there, Woody. That was just a cast back in old memories.
Yeah, see, that's usefulness when we do have a few PUAs around. They can go take one for the team. It's just kind of rub one off on them, and then they'll be happy. You know, girls kind of lay back and like shut up for a little while after that.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, on the issue of women going their own way, I mean, she did use that label.
She did use that label. She's kind of if she does what she says she's gonna do, not get married, go asexual, but and all that, and not entrap some, and not sperm jack some guy and take him to. That's okay. You know?
No, she was gonna go female monk. She's gonna go
female
monk or not? Yeah, she's gonna go female monk, the women's version of the monks, and
yeah, that's perfect because she's not gonna harm no other men out there. You know, we're not sending them out to harm other men. You know.
Oh well, she's gone now, so.
Oh, yeah.
If they mind their own business, then more power to them, right?
Yeah.
We know that's not what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's 4 billion of them out there, but we know there's she's out there trying to look for, you know, she's probably feeling that she was about mid-30s, that feeling of, you know, her biological clock's ticking, and she's going to turn from Mgtow to full-out aggressive sperm jacker.
on a mission. Yeah, the I don't know. It's TFM brings up. I don't know if he's last conversation just this morning, but he talks about how women are essentially like children, right?
Yeah.
But but they're not actually children. They're like children, and so it puts men in a predicament, because with children, you can treat them as children because there's a protocol for that, right? It's authority and child. But with women, they're not actually children. They're like somewhere in between. There's some weird combination of an adult, but with a children's mentality. So what's the proper protocol for dealing with that?
Oh God, yeah, you can't aggressively stand up to them because they'll call the police. You can't say anything because that's against the law. You can't tell them about themselves because that's against the law now. Man, I don't know what the protocol. Everything's against the law now.
Go your own way. That's the protocol,
just
right?
Go your own way and try to avoid them.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah, God. Well, yeah, they're going to come on and they're going to do the old, I'm the old Walt. I'm that Rhino unicornus. I love that line.
That's
I have
right.
to mention it every single throwdown now. You can go out and get yourself one of those Rhino unicornuses. They're a little heavy, but them aren't women. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, we can avoid them a lot, but as you say, since there's 3.5 billion on the planet, it's hard. It's going to be hard to fully avoid them,
Yeah, they're around. They're everywhere. You're gonna have to deal with women in life wherever you go. Like I say, I go up to the sandwich shop and Jill's there, and I tell her she knows what I want, and she's, "Hey Joe," and I just treat her, and then we avoid that whole thing where we talk on any level of yeah, you're looking good today, Joe. No, let's not. The sandwich needs black olives, onions, and that's the extent of it. That's the extent of my dating.
That's your PUA.
Yeah, that's my PUA. Telling her what I want on my sandwich. Yeah, that's my game. The Subway sandwich girl is like, she's open 24/7. Shit.
It always comes back to make me a sandwich, doesn't it?
Always. It always comes back to make me a sandwich because that's all I really want anyways. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I walk on up there and I was like, yep. I don't got to explain this to nobody, and you know what I want on that sandwich.
It's going to be delicious.
It's going to be delicious. I'm going to get home. I don't have no one yelling at me. I don't have nothing, it's just, that's it. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful, me and that girl have a beautiful relationship.
Wow. You see, guys, it can work.
Yeah, see, there is a no Walt. You just can't bring her home. She stays behind the counter because that's her place in life. And,
it's sort of a quasi kitchen back there, right?
Yeah, it's a quasi kitchen. She knows what I want. She's perfect.
Well, what's been happening in your week, MF? You come across any interesting videos? You had any?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many at this point. It's tough to keep track, isn't it?
There is, isn't there? Did you notice an upswing in new content producers this last week, Shining? You do the same thing. I do.
They're all popping up. I'm trying to remember one of them. Messenger has found a new British guy. He's got a really strange name. I can't pronounce it. His account. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it, but yeah, there's lots of guys coming forward. That's always great to see. Lots of new content producers. Obviously, lots of channels are opening up, so they can watch YouTube and comment and vote. But it's always nice to see guys coming forward telling us their story.
Yeah. So two things. We had a lot of new men in these last couple of weeks, and they're just kind of getting acclimated to Mgtow. That's a little irritating sometimes. You want to yell at them, but but you just, okay, cool, you're making good videos, be well, take care, brother, and that stuff, and then we had this upswing of females coming in this week. I don't know what happened. Did school let out or something?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that too. Weird.
Yeah, so maybe this is just a natural process. This time of the year, people start. It's cold outside. The weather's not very good most places, and people are looking for something new and exciting on the internet. And MGTOW's everywhere now, and so we're going to start,
Yeah, it is, and that's one thing that came up this week. I think shining. This idea that with the spread of MGTOW and red pill becoming pretty. It's hard to quantify that, but let's just say it's got some teeth to it. Anyway, so isn't Karen Strawn kind of talking about like the end of feminism, or somebody's kind of talking about like, is feminism in decline? I'm not really sure. I have an opinion on that, but I'll see what you guys think.
I think it's not in decline because it's so ingrained. Women don't have to identify as a feminist now to actually be doing feminist stuff.
Exactly.
Go
ahead, Shani.
Well, I've said right from the beginning that feminism is so ingrained, as you say. It's so deep in our society. It's become part of our culture. I mean, a person that's not gynocentric is seen as someone who's weird, someone who's misogynistic, someone who's not right in the head.
If you fall outside of the norm, right?
Because feminism has become part of our culture. We have to admit it. It's everywhere. It's within our legislation. It's within the family. It's within work. It's within the music. It's within our films. Feminism is part of our
the culture.
It is the culture. It's the backdrop too, isn't it? It's become so ingrained in the social backdrop that every damaged female, and they all end up in the same place. Like I said before, HHS, and HHS has these go-to feminist rules where they all just by proxy become feminists.
Right.
And these are damaged individuals that can't figure out how to run their lives.
It's extremely viral in that sense, right? You take a damaged person and then you infect them, and they're completely gone from that point forward.
Yeah, well, and it's the go girl thing too. It's like all you girls are doing so great, and you got to give them some pudding and tell them how good they're doing. And these are really these girls that are failing because of feminism, and they're giving them more feminism. So it's like simping is the cure for simping, heroin is the cure for heroin, feminism is the cure for feminism. It's like no, you don't tell these girls that they're so go girl great when their lives are ruined.
Yeah, well, male feelings. You was going to make the point.
So I think it's dangerous to think about it like that it's in the decline. I think that is people might start entertaining that notion, but I think that's very dangerous because of how surreptitious or covert feminism, gynocentrism can be. So then if you take your guard down, because my main point is that I think feminism will never, when I say feminism, and this is to Yappering's point here, he says, remember that, feminism, so when I say feminism, that includes gynocentrism. I use those words interchangeably. Gynocentrism, gynarchy, feminism, female in-group bias, it's all the same shit, it's all corrupt. And so the point is that it's not going to go away. It may mutate. It might mutate and sort of evolve and adapt to different changes, but it won't go away. And so, I wouldn't think that anyone who's pushing the notion that feminism is in decline, that's not true. Certain overt types of feminism may, as they come under pressure from more and more, as more males are, like the video, when the Mgtow swoop in on the video this week shining, that may squash to some extent some overt expressions of gynocentrism, but it'll just find other avenues to come around,
Well, there you go, Kevin Strawn, if you're listening. We've got MF here, and
It's very
you need
sneaky.
to.
Very sneaky.
Yeah. I've not actually watched that video from Karen Strawn. I actually thought she stopped doing solo content. I thought she was just focusing on the podcast with the those like badges. Those
Honey badgers.
badges.
Yeah, I don't really follow them.
The evil badgers. The evil honey badgers.
The evil honey badgers. Yeah, I got problems with it. You know, there's just problems with their ideologies. You know,
Yeah.
the ideologies that they take are something that's convenient and useful for them too.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what they're going to push, because they know anything that comes through any kind of legislation will be immediately gynocentric. So why not? You know.
Right. You can tell with Karen. I mean, she does it. She does good in a lot of ways, but at the same time, when you really push comes to shove, you see her sort of defending the female imperative. You do see that coming out behind everything, you know. So to some extent, you know, even when females are sort of on the surface pro-male, you gotta be suspicious. But
yeah, she's not going to hit the hard truths. You know, I mean, Karen's not going to say, "Hey, girls, don't be riding that cox carousel." You know, don't be sticking too many of those in there. You know, you're going to get ruined. You know, and stuff like that. You know, men just, you know, we flip that off. You know,
right.
Karen, you know.
Yeah, what is this thing about the soul shackle Kodanshi's eating pudding? I don't get that. I think it stemmed from that documentary that was it a woman or some man did about the Japanese Mgtow guys, that they focus on grooming and looking nice and eating pudding.
Yeah. Well, do they eat?
I don't like pudding. I'm not big on pudding.
Tapioca pudding.
Tapioca. They love tapioca. Yeah.
It's too much like sperm. Just kidding.
Eat pudding. That's my term for just give them a little sugar, you know, and then bait them in. Give them a little pudding, because that's all they want. They want to be told how strong, independent girls they are. Load that pudding on. Oh, you go, girl. You're so strong.
I wondered where that guy was. You know, that guy F Guilt. His name, Fuck Guilt.
Yeah, I've seen him in here a lot.
Yeah, he's the guy that did the Future of Mgtow video that Zeta's trying to promote. Yeah, I wondered where he came from, but yeah, there's a new Mgtow channel called F Guilt.
I just subscribed to him today after talking to him in the room here.
There you go, guys.
So what is his ideas on the future of Mgtow? Any different than ours, or has he got some new?
He's got some really interesting. Yeah, he's got some really new, interesting ideas and interesting analogies. But some of the stuff I don't agree with. I think some of the stuff he's sort of just jumped on the general propagated narrative. I think he's thinking too much along the lines of what government tells us. I think really to get a more accurate prediction or a more accurate outcast, I think you need to look at what's happening on the ground rather than what they're telling you on the news. That's my take.
What's one of his big points? Is he kind of like socialist leaning, something like that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it sounds like you've heard the video. It's very socialist leaning. Yeah.
I flipped through. I looked at him, but I didn't watch him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's that guy? The big guy in the media, sort of Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the Greek guy.
Yeah.
He's gay, right?
He's gay. Yeah, that's the guy they pick to represent Mgtow. In a way. Some gay guy that disagrees with the media.
Right. Oh, the controversy.
Irony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bernard Chapin does a video about that a couple years ago, and it would be like putting, Paul in charge of, making new laws, and then all the laws resemble the old laws.
Yeah, that's totally true, Traversable, and but it reminds me, I did think of a use or a a purpose that the MRA serves today. Would you? So you can see what you guys think, but the MRA will not be successful in, well, presumably it's not going to succeed in sort of turning over all the laws, right?
Yeah.
But what they do is they expose how corrupt the system is, because they go through the proper channels and they ask for justice, but they're rejected, and so that essentially does expose how corrupt it is, you know. Because without that, we could always say, you know, you could always point fingers and say how stupid feminism is, but that's like proof. That's like undeniable proof, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, if they were doing that, they've kind of veered from, you know, doing what they're doing. They have a lot of bright intellectual guys that are coming out of college that say, oh, we're going to go do this, we're activists, we're going to get this. And then they get in there here, or, you know, here or there, the manosphere. They come into the manosphere, and all of a sudden they're pooning feminists. And that becomes
right.
Reciprocal. It just pooning feminists, pooning more feminists, telling feminists about themselves, doing this, and now they're in the echo chamber. You know, they're in the vacuum.
Right.
And
right. So they only attack it on a very surface level. But I think, the thing, you know, if you imagine they didn't exist and they weren't doing that, then, and there was just Mgtow, at least it's kind of constructed to have someone out there doing that, because then sort of we don't, you know, we can go beyond that, because what the MRA misses is gynocentrism, or that it's what they don't get it fully appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, it deflects things from us too, you know.
No, I think the main difference between the MRA and Mgtow, which, by the way, I think both have many areas where they both coincide, Mgtow and MRA. Many areas where they're virtually identical. Like, for example, family, parenting, things like that, and you know, men being in more positive having more positive male roles. But I think the main area where we differ is a lot of them think that women are essential for running society or running male dominated areas. Yeah, and I think that's where we differ, because we basically think, well, actually no, you know, men on top, fuck it.
right. And that's why I'm like, I would say the same thing as you, and the language I would use is to be excuse me, they don't get the depth of gynocentrism, right? They kind of get that there is sort of gynocentrism, but what the Mgtow sees is that when you do kind of like what TFM, his whole philosophy that he pushes a lot about egalitarianism, if you do invite females or whatever to have power, unfortunately they're corrupt, and so you just can't. It doesn't work. It's like you like to treat them as equals, but they fuck it up, so it doesn't work. You know, and that's the gynocentrism that MRAs don't get.
Yeah, and that's a problem. I mean, when you're thinking that you need women basically to be part of everything, you're gonna go down that route of because basically we say, you know, we believe that men are better than women, but you'll never hear an MRA say that. You'll never hear MRA saying men are better than women.
Yeah, they're bringing that they're equal to us, and they're
political correctness.
Political correctness, and they're always bringing that the Nawalt picture to us. That there's our women out there that are worthy of marrying and worthy of this, and what we're saying is no, they're all formed from the same cookie cutter mold, and done that, been there, I'm done.
Even if that was the case, I mean, even if there were women that were Nawalts, the fact is the circumstances that we're living in, the society, the laws, the entire environment is not geared for that Nawalt to give you a fair and naturally righteous, you know, life.
It's like a lotto ticket, you know. They're all good until you scratch that ticket, and a Nawalt's only as good as a Nawalt is until she grabs the gun in her room, you know.
Exactly. Is she going to be a Nawalt all the way down to you know, until death do you part?
But that's again, missing what they miss there is the depth of the gynocentrism, because even if you, so a NAWALT might exist, but she still knows that she has the full force of gynocentrism behind her, you know. So it's the relationship between the individual and the collective. You know, you can have a female who personally acts kind of, you know, decent, but yet as a member of the
matriarchy.
The matriarchy and the female superorganism, she has that, you know, she's part of that corrupt system no matter what. And I would just finish that by saying, a real NAWALT, or a real bona fide, you know, if a woman really was a NAWALT and she, you know, did believe in equality with men and everything, then she would be aggressively anti the system. Okay, so that's like the litmus test, because it's like that saying where when good men do nothing, that's when evil takes place. Well, if good women, if she's a good woman, you know, if she's truly a NAWALT, but she's doing nothing, then she is complicit in feminism, right? She is part of it.
I think unless you took that NAWALT and you went to live in a log cabin on a desert island, I think that would be all right. But if you're living in here, I think that's why that film, what's it called, Blue Lagoon? You guys remember the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah.
Christian Brinkley or something like that.
Yeah, what was that girl's
Brooke
name?
Shields.
Brooke Shields.
Yeah, she was hot when she was, you know,
She was smoking.
14.
Yeah.
Other guys are looking at it, and I'm thinking pedophiles.
I know. We're not allowed to say she's hot in that film. But she, have you seen a picture of her recently? Woo! She's hit
much, right?
She's hit the wall.
Yeah, she hit the wall. What was her name?
Warp speed.
I'm looking. What was her
Make
name?
it so warp speed. Wow.
She slammed into that wall like a gnat on a windshield, right?
On a gnat on the windshield, boy. Anyway, yeah, I think that's why that film was so attractive to men, because that would be an ideal situation, wouldn't it? I mean, a desert island, a pretty girl, no gynocentric system to fuck you about, no stupid school system to send your kids. I think men.
That's a great point. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think men are afraid of childbirth. What a lot of men don't realize is childbirth is actually a very natural thing. It's very natural. They're thinking, oh, we need the system, you know, to birth the child. You don't, guys. Listen, you don't.
Totally.
You don't need a hospital to give birth. You know, before hospitals, before we had hospitals, you don't think human beings were giving birth for millennia or however long you think people have been evolving. Or what about those countries that don't have hospitals?
Animals do it all the time, right? I mean, come on, they don't have hospitals.
Yeah, guys, don't be afraid of that. You don't need a government for anything. There's nothing in your life that the government does for you that you couldn't do better for yourself.
Better and cheaper.
And cheaper and happier.
Because they'll point to certain things and they'll say, well, but the government does this or that. You got to remember, they're skimming though. They might. Yes. The Social Security. Okay, so they take your money and they give it back to you. Well, in the process, they're skimming a shitload off the top.
They're skimming 3/4. Yeah.
You don't need that. Just fucking do it yourself.
Yeah. I think we're conditioned in this society. We're brainwashed to think that without the government we'd all just die and perish. Or there'll be certain areas where things would there's certain areas like education, like health, that the government is absolutely essential. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I'm going on record. There's nothing that the government does except we could do it better. And even if the government collapsed, you'd think it'd be like a Mad Max situation. Trust me, it wouldn't be like that. We would divide up into little tribes, and we wouldn't start shooting and bombing each other like people think. There would be an interim government. For example, listen, guys. For example, the American Revolution.
Yes.
The British were the government for them. Guys don't realise the British was the government for America at that point. And then a bunch of guys came together and they overthrew the government. And there wasn't this crazy Mad Max post-apocalyptic scenario. And that's exactly what would happen if. And you know, it happened in Iceland. Iceland, they just threw all the government out. They did it really well.
It's so true, Shining. I mean, just please, everybody, commit what Shining just said to memory.
Thank you. And an award for that, please.
That's fucking beautiful.
I want the most, you know, the Mgtow hate video of the year, and I want the best podcast speech of the year. Thank you very much.
Shining for president. Shining for president.
Thank you very much.
We needed to play some Burge music behind that with some horns.
Because just to follow on your point there, real brief, after the revolution, rather than apocalypse and implosion, what you did see was the greatest explosion of industrialization ever. So the 150, 200 years following, the 150 years following the revolution was the most productive the world has ever seen. So that is the true story of what getting rid of government does.
Yeah. You know, guys, we can do it. You know, one guy says, "What about sewage? Build the sewers." You know,
we've got engineers, we've got mechanics, we have doctors, we have men in every single area, every single facet. We've got guys that have degrees in you know, these guys aren't all of a sudden going to die because the government disappear. They're still going to be there. You know, I'm an engineer. You know, a Traversable here, he'll fit your boiler system in your house for you. You know, we've got guys that do that. The skills won't be lost. We have the skills. You know.
Yeah. If the government goes away, I just forget how to do that.
Exactly.
No, but what does happen is you get to keep the money for the service. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Is the men who provide the service actually get the remuneration? They actually get the reward for it. Yeah. Where in this case, the men still do the work anyway. They just don't get shit for it.
They just don't get shit for it. And guess what men do when there's an overage of work? They hire an employee, they hire 2 employees, they hire 3 employees, they start a bigger business. Before you know it, there's 600, 700. The community starts depending on them, and you got really something going. And then there's innovation too. We innovate the shit out of things when we get a problem.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the only thing the government can do is parasite. That's all they can do is skim off the top.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what Health and Human Services is about. They're just skimming off of, and I do believe that I don't want to come off as totally callous and everything. We had a perfectly good what was called general relief system where nobody asked no questions. Somebody that fell and needed a backdrop got assistance. Nobody asked. It didn't take a whole lot. You take down their name, their social security system. You ask them how much they make. It's 3 questions, and then they get services, and nobody has to know. That's a perfectly good system for people that fall through the backdrop. Someone gets their arm cut off. You know, there's systems to take up for that. Social Security has a system. If you get damaged at work, you go on Social Security, and it works fine. Them are great systems. It's like totally. You said, it's when they start skimming. You know, they put out $860 billion is what it costs to run Social Security right now in our country. You know how much they take in?
Trillions?
$2.9 trillion.
Right. That was the tax revenue. I think, yeah, $2.5 trillion.
Yeah, and they're telling us it's only going to last. There's been how many years here, and they're telling us it's only bullshit. It's not going to last. You know, skimming off the top of that, just so happens that this new system of gynocracy called Health and Human Service costs $2.2 trillion. They're taking a loan against your Social Security, and you're never going to see that again in government bonds.
Yep. Fuck. What's going on in the chat room, Shining?
These guys, they're obsessed with shit. They're saying there's going to be shit everywhere. And then one guy saying that the nuclear power plants will blow up within the... Guys, it's not. These guys don't die when the government disappears. These
Yeah,
guys are still going to be there.
when Gynocentrism explodes, there's going to be a little shit on everybody because that's just MLM. You know, there's going to be a whole bunch of MLM all over the place, but it's not going to ruin your life. You just take a shower.
Just wash that mucus off.
Yeah, see, buy a lot of pudding.
This is what I mean. You know, men, they're afraid. It's like we don't want to lose Big Brother government.
That's the nature of it. It builds that dependency, generational dependency, where your mind is corrupted and you think that you need it, but you don't need it.
No, I can't. Yeah, it's like there's plenty of things men can do. You know, if this thing does, you're going to notice in your neighborhood if there's not someone leeching off the local investor, the local mechanic, these jobs are going to swell so big, so fast that everybody's going to be employed. And everybody, you know,
That's right.
we'll have to figure out a new system. And I always say, Mgtow needs to become the new system.
Yeah.
Be empathetic with your fellow man, and you know, quit throwing your man under the bus for some pussy. Quit throwing your buddy under the bus. Start working together, and this thing grows. We become the system, a better system.
So true. So true. It always. You know, you bring these things back to the original scriptures, you know, the love of woman is the root of evil. All corruption derives from simping, you know, the whole, just all the different permutations of corruption all can be drawn back to this you know, basically simping, selling out your fellow man for the sake of some bullshit trinket, you know. Some vagina or some pat on the head, some social status, whatever. But it's just when, yeah.
Shit everywhere. Saying, I don't know.
Everywhere. Yeah. What's that? The Varnick said that in one of his books. I think it was Breakfast of Champions. He's like, I'm sick of. He's going on what's happening, and he starts giving his little his crazy speech. Some people say it's crazy, but it makes a lot of sense if you start dissecting it. And he says, I'm just sick of wiping shit off of everything. That seems to be a man's job today, and he got sick of wiping shit off of everything. So he wrote Breakfast of Champions, and it's a great book. Great. Did we do movies yet, Shiny?
We haven't done movies. Let's do movies.
Yeah.
Movie section.
Yeah. I was looking at books at the dollar store to see what came out, and it was just filled with Newt Gingrich and for $1, and Hillary Clinton for $1, and you know, Obama's new book for $1, you know, and everybody from Fox News had a book for $1 that just nobody bought, you know, at the dollar store. So we're not going to talk about books. We'll talk about movies.
Churning out the dollars. Well, let's start with our novelty new guest, the MF. So what films have you been watching lately, brother?
Oh, thanks, Shining.
You're welcome.
We put you on the spot there.
Okay, what's your favorite film?
The reality is I've really just disavowed movies for the most part since like 5 years ago. So I watch very few films because it's all vagina worship.
It's all gynocentric, yeah.
Well, that's why it's so important that we talk about films here in Mgtow, so we can
that's a good point.
help guys avoid the crap, which obviously there's a lot of crap, shit everywhere, and let's point out the diamonds in the shit.
Star Wars was the last. I did see that with my
Star Wars?
my nephew or whatever. Yeah, just the last one.
Yeah.
And it's been talked to death. I mean, it's like torture just watching her slap his hand off of her hand because he's trying to help her out. I mean, go fuck yourself, you know.
Yeah. So you didn't enjoy that?
You know, I'm passionate about Star Wars like a lot of people. You know, I grew up with it and I love the shit out of it. So it was really hard for me to take a stance against it. I'll tell you, it's really hard. But as much as I love Star Wars for what it is, it's so corrupted here that I fucking hate it.
Do you guys remember Tron?
Yes. Tron, yeah.
You remember the original, how it was it turned into a cult classic. Guys, they formed a little religion around it. And then when the second one was announced, what was it, 20 years later?
Yeah.
A long time later, people had high expectations. I mean, it's taken so long. It's a great story, great concept. But yeah, it was just.
I didn't see the second one. What's the story on it?
It was just too much focus around this woman. I can't
Oh,
remember her name, but yeah, she's a big celebrity now.
Oh, that came out at the same time as Lawnmower Man, and I was hoping they'd make a Lawnmower Man 2 or 3.
No, I didn't understand Lawnmower Man, and the
I didn't
CGI in
either.
that was
I didn't
terrible.
I was high and I did not understand that movie.
Yeah, that's a great part. You just smoked a joint and watched Lawnmower Man at that time.
Yeah,
I watched The Martian this week.
Oh yeah,
Oh. Matt Damon. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Damon in The Martian. They had a strong, independent leader, woman, and she saves him. And there's some good science in there. They left out a lot of. Me and James were talking about this, and I never understood how he had all this surplus of oxygen. It was just they never explained that. They just kind of went over that because it's probably not explainable. But he can make water, he can grow the plants, he can do this, but suddenly there's just oxygen everywhere.
Were we just talking
a minor
about
detail.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Were we just talking about the film Gravity?
Gravity, yeah, that goes into the next one with Gravity, huh? I haven't seen Gravity yet. Did you see
Sandra
it?
Bullock. No, I wouldn't watch that. I would kill myself first.
God, yeah. I did see the Sandra Bullock and that fat little girl in Heat this week.
I don't know who that is.
It was total gynocentric. They're two cops. What's her name? She's really funny, but Sandra Bullock and her team
Amy
up.
Schumer?
No.
Okay.
No, she just made a few new movies. I'll look it up real quick here. But they team up as a female crime-fighting machine, and
I think I saw the previews for that. It looked retarded.
Oh yeah. What was her name? I'm looking up the other Heat. Now the movie with De Niro, Heat, was really good.
There's a new De Niro film coming out next month, guys.
Oh, is that Bad Grandpa 2? No,
it's Dirty Grandpa.
Dirty Grandpa, yeah.
He plays a PUA with his. I think is that his son. He goes around picking up chicks.
Oh, he goes around picking up chicks.
Now picking up chicks.
The original concept was kind of great of Bad Grandpa 1 with Johnny. What was it? Johnny Knox.
Knoxville,
yeah. Because at the beginning, his wife is dying, and everybody thinks he's going to be like unhappy about that, and he's like, he jumps up and clicks his heels and like, woohoo, I'm free. But
nice.
This one's probably more gynocentric in nature, where he's a PUA and he needs to go get that.
How? The last De Niro movie was pretty ridiculous. It was The Intern, right? He played some bitch to some bitch. It was.
He sold out. I mean, ever since his Godfather days.
Yeah.
It's gone downhill a long way since then, hasn't it?
The system corrupts everything.
Has he played a woman yet? At one point, every Hollywood actor plays a woman, doesn't he?
Yeah, John Travolta, and what was that one with
Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes played that woman. Wow, wasn't that a disaster?
Oh, and then the two guys play the blonde girls, stupid blondes or something like that. The two black guys.
I think it was. Oh yeah, that was horrible.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
Wow, who came up with that idea?
Yeah, the best woman was actually probably John Travolta in Hair. When you just laugh when you see it. You know it's John Travolta playing the mother, and I just busted out laughing because it was so funny.
Well, yeah, that was back when it was original, you know. Yeah, that kind of a slapstick skit for the guy to dress up in drag. That was good back then, but it's become it's like a go-to gag to have, guys dress up as women, and it's just dumb.
It's super dumb, super cheap, and not funny, guys. Not funny.
Not funny. So that Bad Grandpa or Evil Grandpa. Dirty Grandpa. Yeah, they're gonna progress that, and sooner or later it'll be total ground. So they'll go from Bad Grandpa to Dirty Grandpa.
The pedo grandpa.
The horrible grandpa, and then he's in prison, and he's like
deadbeat dad grandpa.
Deadbeat dad grandpa. He raped.
Dirty underwear grandpa.
Dirty underwear, yeah.
Is that part 2? I didn't know that was part two. Because I just saw the trailer for that earlier today.
Yeah.
But
So.
I am looking forward to the Warcraft film. I don't know if any of you guys are fans of Warcraft.
Oh, I seen the previews on that.
Yeah, Blizzard well, not. I was showing Denton last night, but Blizzard, their CGI is second to none. You know, Blizzard,
Yeah.
the guys that program
Oh,
Warcraft, their CGI is just jaw dropping.
Okay. Okay. Now
wow.
you said you seen The Revenant, did you?
What me? Yeah, oh yeah, I saw that a long
Yeah,
time
that's a
ago.
top box office film right now.
Oh, is it hitting the top? Oh,
Yeah.
it's a very how do you put it, dramatic theatrical film, very emotional. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty intense, really intense.
Any simping, pussy begging,
Oh,
cackling
there's
hyenas,
no.
beggars in no
Oh, there's none of that, zero. The only woman in it is the daughter of the Indian chief who's actually trying to find his daughter, and she's getting she's been kidnapped as a sex slave by some of the trappers. So
so they had the rape
so
So
thing.
they had the trafficking in there, yeah.
yeah,
Had to
yeah,
sneak that shit
Yeah.
in.
yeah.
Now Kung Fu Panda's coming out 3. You know, I can't wait to see that. And that is actually written by a woman. It's like very it's very gynocentric, isn't it? When you look at it, it's like children-y. It's right at their level. It's Disney. It's written at a 6th grade. It's
A lot of
sixth,
crayons.
a lot of crayons, and they draw things, and then they make stupid girl jokes, and everybody thinks it's, oh, look, it's so cute, because they can
Yeah,
do the animatronics on that, and oh, look, cute little animals, you know.
It's all about
yeah.
Neoteny with those bitches. It's like
Yeah, and it's
that's
all
all they.
about Miami. Yeah. So yeah, cute, stupid joke is so much better when it comes from a panda cartoon and doing animatronics
With huge eyeballs and his tiny
with huge
nose.
eyeballs and they out in his face, you know.
Ridiculous.
To be watched while they eat their pudding.
Yeah, you eat their pudding and watch Kung Fu Panda, the little retards. Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
James.
who, who,
Yeah, go ahead.
who's looking forward to the Independence Day too?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be decent, I think, if they do the whole graphics and bring back the aliens. But I don't know, are the aliens gonna be on Earth, or I don't know about this story, how they're gonna do it.
It appears that the second wave of alien invasions, you know, the Muslims from outer space,
They're ice
immigrants from outer space,
is
They got little green flags on them.
so yeah.
oh, so there's gonna be a second wave.
I think
funny.
I thought I picked up a lot of gynocentric undertones in that just from the preview, but I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, he's gonna do his speech twice. You know, you got to do that speech again. Is the same
Yeah.
people gonna be in there? Will Smith and I can't remember the blonde guy's name that played the president.
The president guy.
Oh yeah, and Jeff Goldblum. I know he's back in there.
Jeff Goldblum. Okay, they were having problems with him. He wanted more money. I know.
Yeah, but I personally think it looks absolutely crap. I mean,
I did too. I'm glad you said that. I was waiting to hear, but I did too.
It's gonna be, they're gonna have a wedding. And then
No, it's not that. It's just super cheesy. It's like
Super cheesy.
how old do you think we are? It's like, oh, the aliens are back again, and you guys were not prepared
Yeah,
again.
you guys weren't prepared again. Forgot about that one. Shit.
And the same.
Hey,
shit
that's speaking.
falls-
Yeah, the aliens back again. X-Files 2 just started a couple weeks ago too. You know.
X-Files too. Okay.
Yeah, and
Has
Sully has almost hit the wall, and Mulder looks really old.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
David Duchovny and Jillian. I remember when she first started, and that must have been back in the '80s. She looked like a little girl on the first one, and
Right.
now she's she's that 50-year-old woman now that's got all the she's got all the new face and new cheeks and new lips and new hair and
Plastic, huh?
yeah, it's all plastic now. Gillian Anderson is her name, and David Duchovny. But I watched like half of one last Sunday or something. I think it's on a Sunday night. And if you're into X-Files, like a lot of people, X-Files is kind of a cult following, you know.
Yeah, I'm not super into it. I remember that it was big, for a while there. It was really big.
Yeah, and
And yeah.
Shining's new show, Angie Tribeca.
What's that? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, we were laughing about it early. The new girl detective show. Oh God, there's a lot of girl detectives now.
Oh yeah.
They're all and then they got Satan comes down and he becomes a detective with a girl that used to be a porn star.
Wait, Lucifer or something like that?
Yeah, Lucifer. Yeah, did you notice who the girl is?
Who is it? Is it Angie?
Isn't that Angelica, the porn star?
Oh really?
Yeah, I've seen enough porn in my life where I'm thinking I think that's Angelica. I don't know what her porn name was.
All right, Will
Porn
Smith.
stars going mainstream. Love it.
Yeah.
Will Smith is not in the next Independence Day, so he's not in it. But
He's not in there. Yeah.
Everyone else is, and it's going to be directed by Roland Emmerich.
He must have been boycotting. Just kidding.
Yeah. He's normally his films are pretty good. Roland Emmerich. I'll probably not pronounce that correctly. I'll probably get voted for that later. But the new X-Men guys, looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of X-Men.
Oh yeah, X-Men's always they kind of. You just know it's not serious. You just know it's like fantasy fiction. They don't try to really push a lot of stuff in that, do they?
Oh, but people like to believe it. People like to believe that one day we'll evolve into super creatures that can take women's clothes off just by looking at them and prevent them from making false accusations.
Rape!
Just by looking at them.
Yeah, we can just see right through their clothes and just rape them. Yeah, we just rape. There should be like a character that he just goes around and rapes,
Yeah, a rape mutation.
A rape. Johnny Midnight brings up Jessica Jones. If you can take 3 episodes of that, I'll give you $10.
Jessica Jones?
Yeah, anybody that can watch 3 episodes full the way through and be a Mgtow, I will give you $10.
There you go, guys. A challenge.
Yeah.
Gauntlet is thrown.
Yeah, this is the show where the first one I watched like 2 episodes, and she's masturbating on watching some guy do his girlfriend, and if a man did that, it would be thrown off a TV, but it's sexy because she's masturbating to watching a guy get it off.
Wow.
She's an empowered superhero feminist detective that was masturbating on a ledge watching a client. Oh, Jesus.
Because female sex is all that matters.
Female sex, yeah. Male sex doesn't matter. Female sex is it. If she does it, it's sexy. If you can imagine the role reversal on that one, there would be 30 cars pulling up. There'd be shooting at him. There'd be helicopters. Like, there's a man masturbating on a ledge. We have to kill him.
All right, guys. Batman versus Superman.
Is that going to be a one?
Oh yeah.
They've been making that for years now. They've kept on pushing the date back.
Versus Superman.
Yeah, so they're gonna fight. They're gonna have a bro down.
Oh, Superman just should tear him up. Are they gonna be like bro down? Like,
you don't know.
I don't
know. Maybe Batman he's got some type of a kryptonite thing. They'll think of some super fantastic Marvel thing coming up.
They're gonna have to give Batman some superhero powers. So that's what he doesn't really have
technology
powers. Yeah, he's gonna have to out-tech Superman.
Yeah, he's gonna have the new iPhone. He's gonna shame him with his new iPhone. But yeah, the more I watch of this Batman thing, the worse it looks. I mean, when it first came out and he had his glowing eyes, it looked fantastic. He had his new suit and he was gonna take on Superman. I was thinking, yeah, he must have incorporated some type of a kryptonite mist or something to fight him, to bring him, to equal the odds. But
something credible, right?
Yeah, I don't know, something credible for Batman versus Superman. But yeah, the more I see of it, the worse it looks. So I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that anymore.
We're gonna have to bring the Dark Knight on here to explain the character.
We'll have to patch things up with him.
Yeah,
Bring
patch
everyone.
things up with Dark Knight, and he can explain the character. He'd probably be into that. He was into the Batman stuff.
Yeah,
Quite
Batman's.
heavily.
I think Batman's the most popular Marvel character. As I know.
Mgtow, the true Batman.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I'm seeing one that really bothered me. It's the end of zombies now, isn't it? They just went one step beyond the zombie thing than they should have when they made Pride and Prejudice zombies.
Oh,
What?
what a clever idea!
The girls fighting zombies to the tone of Pride and Prejudice, the book. That's going to kill it, and we're going to have to come up with another metaphysical, creature now to make movies about, because women just killed it.
Yeah,
They invaded. They just consumed it. But it was always a bitch's. It was really a female book anyway, right?
Pride and Prejudice, yeah, and zombies. That's got to be the worst.
here's an interesting film that's on its way. Jane's Got a Gun.
Jane's got a gun.
Jane's Got a Gun. I was going to look at that. That's Natalie Portman stars in a western concerning a woman. Oh, it's the woman western.
It's a woman who's lost her husband. I don't know if she divorced him or whatever, but now she goes looking. Yeah. She lost her husband, and she goes looking for her husband's brother to help protect her ranch. It's interesting because in this film that they're saying the woman needs the man, so should be watching that.
Now that's they did a woman with the gunfight one with the one that shows her beaver and
Sharon Stone.
Sharon Stone, yeah, Sharon Stone was the gunfighter.
Oh, I like that film actually. I remember that. The Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a good film. Now they got to do.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It's been years since the last girl gunfighter, hasn't it?
Sharon Stone, all bleaked and looking nice in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. So did she? I never really, I was younger when that movie came out, and I never really seen beaver. Was there actually beaver there?
No.
No. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was just a myth of the beaver.
Glorifying the beaver. Yeah.
Oh, if you're talking about
Basic Instinct.
It was. Yeah, she did show it. Yeah.
See, you got to do it. It's a quick, thing.
It wasn't like a close-up or anything. It was just kind of, blonde hair.
You have to get the director's cut. It's actually quite clear. They actually totally censored it. Yeah, get the director's cut, and it's just there. It's not hidden or anything. Yeah, get the director's cut. I rewatched that. I think years later, and yeah, she just sticks her fanny out.
Yeah. Now this Jane Portman in this is it Jane Portman?
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
Okay. Now is that the girl from
Star Wars?
Star Wars? Okay. I thought
Princess.
she's the princess from the Star Wars. So they're gonna over.
Did you watch her in Leon?
What's that?
The film Leon. Natalie Portman. Her first film was on Leon, the professional. You guys, you two haven't seen Leon.
No, I haven't seen Leon. Was it her introduction to movies?
Guys.
I'm looking at her face, and
guys, you have to watch Leon. It's probably one. I think, yeah, IMDb recognizes it as one of the. I think it's in the top 20 or something. It's one of the best films. IMDb votes, but yeah, I would say it's really.
What's it about?
It's about a girl who lives with a prostitute mother and her drug dealer father. One day, I don't know. Should I tell you guys? Because trust me, you'll love it. I personally think it's one of the best films. But if you like, I'll spell out the stuff. Okay, she's a little girl. It's Natalie Portman. She's like 10 or 11 years old. The fact that she's a little girl and her acting is amazing, totally convincing. And one day, the drug dealers come to her parents' house and they kill her mum, they kill her father, and they kill her little brother and her big sister. And they're about to kill her, but she pretends that she's the daughter of another man, and the man is actually a total. What are those guys called now that are nihilists that don't give a shit about anybody.
Anarchist.
He's a massage
No, he's a misanthrope.
a misanthrope.
He's a misanthrope, and they make sure you know he's a misanthrope, and then basically he has to decide whether or not he's going to pretend to be this girl's father in front of all these drug dealers. You just have to watch it. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, he pretends, and then from that day on, she's attached to him, and she basically she finds out that he's an assassin out of all things. So yeah, so what a great person to attach yourself to. He becomes an assassin. No, she wants to become an assassin. This 10-year-old girl, obviously, she's not going to be old enough to take down this mafia. And it turns out that the mafia is actually the police. The police force, and they're like.
Oh, I know which movie you're talking about. Yeah, okay. I've seen it a couple times before, and she's a little girl, and he's the assassin. He's Hispanic, isn't he? Or Spanish?
No, he's French. That guy.
Okay, yeah, he is French. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly which movie you're talking about. There's one like that is a Spanish guy too.
Yeah, great film, guys. You have to watch it.
Okay.
So she needed a man like a fish needs a bicycle, right?
Yeah, it was really great film. Lots of. Anyway, are you guys watching Game of Thrones? You guys fans of Game of Thrones?
I watched it up until I realized it was all just, what's her name, the queen, she's freeing all the slaves, and it was just so gynocentric. I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah, there were some parts that were you watch it up to the point where they weren't gynocentric, and then once it turned, you just stopped watching it. It's like,
yeah, I think
it's like sandpaper on your teeth, when you get to that point, isn't it?
It's like with a lot of these stories, it's like they run out of material and it just gets dry. Like Star Trek Voyager and Next Generation and
they brought in Jane, what's her name, Jane Curtin.
Yeah, Janeway.
Janeway, and she was like the strong independent captain.
Oh yeah, I never did warm to Janeway. I mean, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and then for 7 seasons, for 7 years, I never got used to her. I just thought she was silly, her hairdo.
She's a fake.
Yeah, it was so plastic. Yeah, this commanding, you're not going to bully me. You just threatened the wrong person.
She was older too, and they thought that they would pull it off like they pulled it off of Picard, the older handsome gentleman. They thought that would work for a girl, and you're just going, no, she's not hot. She's just old.
Yeah. I'm not sure if she was meant to be hot, but I'm pretty sure they wanted to cast like a strong, positive female role model. But I thought she was just silly. I thought she was just
They're
cheap.
all silly. Yeah, that's why it's all so corny and stupid.
They brought in the gay advisor, and he was a homosexual alien too on that one.
Yeah, she had sex with an alien.
Oh, God, yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah, they brought in the whole homosexual thing, and then there had to be a certain amount of different colored people and different colored aliens to make it perfectly PC.
Yeah, I like Tuvok though. Tuvok was a brilliant character.
Yeah.
Tim Russ.
Tuvok, is that the new Worf?
He was a Vulcan. He was like
Vulcan, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was a great character. Oh, by the way, all the other characters were fantastic. Well written. I just thought Janeway was thingy.
Yeah, I just when I seen the gay purple guy with the warts, I was.
Gay purple guy with the warts? Who's that?
Yeah. Let me look up his name. He was one of the characters in that one. It just kind of, not gonna watch this no more.
I don't remember any gay characters in Star Trek.
Yeah, they got one. They brought him in on that one.
Was Data gay?
No, Data. He was asexual, wasn't he? But he had.
Well, no, he had sex with.
Yeah, with that woman. But
he was a sex bot for the woman. That's an
interesting side.
Yeah.
A man's proper place.
Yeah, but then apparently he deleted all those files. He said he's going to delete those files.
Did he delete the files? Then
he deleted his sex files.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
was the first sex? The first sex bot you can actually say was a female for a female version, and you know these guys talk about that all the time. You know, sex bots and everything. But the first one was actually in Star Wars. The first sex bot was
Star Trek.
Star Trek was Data. He was the first. I'm looking for the characters.
Don't get that wrong, guys. They're going to be all over you for that. Star Wars versus Star Trek. It's a huge geek war going on down there.
Oh, there's a lot of characters in there. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't think there's any purple gay guy.
I thought there was a purple gay guy. He took the Whoopi Goldberg's place as the host.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Neelix the chef?
Neelix the chef, yeah, he was gay, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't gay.
Oh, was he just eccentric or
he was just the same. His wife was Kess. He was actually married on that.
Was he married? Because he always had the lisp and he was always making feminine like.
No. His wife's name was Kess, who was another alien. And she evolved into a being of light and disappeared off the ship.
Oh, see, I got a really serious gay impression from him. What was his name in real life?
Let me quickly just check up here. But yeah, he was quite a good actor. I think they did have plenty of good actors on there. Okay, that's Ethan Phillips.
Ethan Phillips. Now, is he gay in real life?
Let's have a look. Shall we check?
Yeah, Star Wars. I'm trying to look it up real quick, but I've never watched that one, so it's not familiar to me.
Okay, personal life. Not much on his personal life, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so he's just one of those guys that are a little flamboyant.
You know, you might be right, yeah, because normally they give all the list about his relationships and that, so I don't know. Oh, well, he's the same age as me. This guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Ethan
You guys
Phillips.
got a stake in the Trump game? Are we Trump fans around here, or is that
Trump fans? Nah.
Bernie's a Trump fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I went with Bernie Sanders all the way now. I'm stuck on Bernie Sanders because he's the only one that's not all the way crazy. And it's bad because he was all the way crazy just 10 years ago.
Personally,
Right.
I think America needs to throw out the entire government and just do a militia like in Oregon.
I'm the same. I'm the same with you. It's all noise until something like that happens.
Like Heartburn says, unless you're willing to kill and to die for your rights, then you're never going to get them.
Yeah. So
Definitely a complete overhaul.
I know. I think we're at that point now. They don't give a shit about you guys. The government doesn't give a shit about us, you know, guys. You're about as disposable as what does Warhorse call it? Worm shit.
yeah, we can't take another year of this. The total. We can't take another 8 years of total left anymore because we'll all be wearing cog pieces in a couple years.
Yeah. Well, I'll be. I don't know.
They just take their 50% cut.
Yeah, take your 50% cog. We have to
leave
wear
us to-
wigs, be gay, and wear cog pieces because that'll be the new male.
They're outlawing. Yeah,
Cog pieces.
illness is illegal.
Yeah. As soon as it's.
And I don't think we can do another 8 years of the total right thing. God, that would be more
I don't
George.
know how bad does it have to get until people wholeheartedly on my. I don't know. I think that Oregon situation. I think, and let's face it, a lot of people. I think probably most of America had their eyes on that situation. They were seeing how
things
that
are
was going
tense
on.
right now. Things are. There was 2 situations this year where we almost got gunfire started happening. From the militia to the Bundys were involved in both of those, but it's happened twice in the last year now, and they're getting closer together, and it won't be long before we have another Tea Party.
It's high time, and let's face it, most Americans are on there. They're looking towards this candidate or this president, and they're looking towards the next senator, and But guys, I mean, how bad does it have to get until you realise it doesn't make a single difference? You've been doing it now for how many decades? I mean, how does that saying go? You know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. How often do you have to do it? How often do you need a new president to realise that all of them are under the same puppet master?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the people who they want to, you know, they just, I like the no vote. You just say, no, this guy's not good enough, and no, this guy's not good enough, and no, and then let the people figure out who that is good enough, and then run off the two good candidates instead of having the choice of all these bad candidates. I was thinking, what would a modern day Tea Party look like? Instead of Indians, they would dress up like ISIS, and instead of tea, what would they throw in the sea? Condoms, like ISIS guys throwing condoms or feminist tampons into the sea.
No, I think
birth control.
I think in all seriousness, I think it will be just like how happened in Oregon. I think people would start occupying buildings, and then people would just start coming out and protesting on you know, little subgroups.
Yeah. What usually happens to really incite the people in the United States, we can look at Kent State when they were having a protest, and then the government came out and started shooting people. I do believe someone's going to have to die here before everybody goes, hey, wait a second.
I think that's where I think, you know, Mgtow really is important, because any sort of aggressive, if you take any incident like that, and it's just going to be squashed, and it's going to be go into the dustbin of history. The only really thing that you can do is, I think, shift the culture, you know, and then, like, because the culture is like at the bottom of the pyramid, and the politics are kind of top, and so you can't appeal to politics in order to really change politics. First, you got to change the culture, and then, you know, so if the culture were to become very much like Mgtow minded and very much classical liberalism minded, you know, like small, you know, fuck government and all that, then that's the only possible avenue I see to any improvement.
Yeah, just say no becomes, you know, becomes a meaning when it's put up behind the Mgtow philosophy, and that's what we're saying. We're saying no. They're not used to hearing no, but Mgtow's saying no, and I think that should be our running line. Just say no, no more.
Absolutely, that's completely. You know, I talk to people about politics, and their minds are still wrapped up in cable news. They still think that cable news is somehow like where reality exists, and I just say, you know, I don't continue the conversation anymore. I just say, all you can do is say no to all that crap. Just disregard it. Just throw it all in the garbage can. It's garbage. You know,
I do find. I mean, how is it people of this day and age, 2016, who after lie after lie, the government, Democrats, Republicans, every year you get lied to. Every year they break their promises.
Every year. I mean, if Obamacare is not like the biggest fucking lie in the world, and if people don't recognize that, then they're hopeless.
And also, you know, the main channels like CNN, ABC, like how often do these guys have to get it wrong before you realize that they're all liars? There's liars all over the main media.
Yeah, when you look at Obamacare, it's exactly opposite of what they said it was going to be.
100%.
100% opposite.
And he doesn't care.
More. Yeah, it costs more. There's worse medical. I've been, you know, to the doctor's office twice since Obamacare came, and it's horrible now. It is freaking horrible. And this whole thing was just absolutely a way to squeeze more money out of the American people, to make you pay for something you're not even going to use now. And it relieves them. It relieves them of. It's a big push paper. It's a big bureaucracy now, where you just, you know what happened, and this is how. I went for my shoulder. I went to the hospital, the emergency ward. They gave me 7 Vicodin and told me to go see a specialist. The specialist looked at me and sent me back to the fucking hospital that I was at the beginning. So there was 3 hits there that we should have been 1 hit, and they should have took care of it when I went to the hospital.
It's what a scam! What an abominable scam!
Yeah, I mean, if they probably would have sent me to a dentist and then over to a skin graft guy to look at my skin. And you pay all this money, by the time you get back to get what you want, you should have done in the first time you went, and it's 100% bureaucracy.
Just designed to bleed out the common man.
Yeah, it's just designed. And then when you think about, I'm paying twice as much now as I was paying before that started.
But your premiums went down, and you get to keep the coverage if you like it, right? Traversable. If you like your coverage, you get to keep it, and your premiums have gone down, right?
My premiums was supposed to go down, but they went up and doubled, and now it's 80/20, so I'm paying more.
Right, you went to a PPO. Yeah, man. How people can't see it, it just wow. But I think as we continue these discussions, we just keep having these conversations. It has to. The message will get out there and will grow.
Yeah. And I never, the big thing is I never changed my insurance. My insurance changed from underneath my from what it was. I have the same insurance as I've always had, with the same company, with the same, I didn't change it. It just changed on me.
So he didn't renege on his promise. You got to keep it, right?
Yeah, I got to keep my coverage, and now it's like the total worst thing. I have to go look for a new plan and go through this whole thing, but I don't think I'm going to find a better plan now because they all suck.
They completely suck. No, it's just so fucking retarded with the healthcare industry. Everyone's skimming off the top. The only way for insurance to make sense is for people to just put money in.
Single payer,
but ideally not government run. It could be run by some.
Yeah, they shot that down real quick, didn't they? Single payer. Yeah, they shot single payer down. That was the cure. The single payer was the cure because it was going to cut all that $75 to get your temperature taken, that kind of stuff, and $85 to get your blood pressure taken.
Right. So you mean the government single payer program that like Hillary Clinton was pushing, or what?
I don't care who the single payer is. It's just as long as I'm not paying 2 people now. That's what I'm paying the government now, and I'm paying a government, and I'm paying a provider. That's all that it did is you're paying 2 people now instead of 1.
Yeah, exactly. So like what I don't understand is why some nonprofit doesn't pop up, and who does not, because if you're a nonprofit,
I gotta mute here for a second.
And you're just and you reinvest all of the premiums go actually towards healthcare without skimming if you're the government, you're skimming off the top to pay for the government. If you're the corporation, you're skimming off the top to pay shareholders and to extract maximum profit. But if you're a nonprofit, analogous to a single payer, then mathematically all that money that goes in should be available for for paying out, and that should be that. I don't see why some system like that doesn't just come along. I mean, maybe I need to start it, but the current way, just most all the money that goes into the system is being bled out, and so it can't work. So when you have it's what's happening in Great Britain right now. Maybe Shiny can speak to it, but with the NHS, they're realizing that as technology advances and everything, you get all these expensive medicines, like $100,000 a year for a cancer medicine, or 200, whatever it is. You can't have a situation where everybody is paying in like $1,000 a year or whatever, and then they get to take out $100,000. That mathematically doesn't work. And so that's, socialized medicine promises, free healthcare for everybody, but it doesn't mathematically make sense. And so all they end up doing is just taking your money and giving you the finger because you fell for the scam, right? You fell for the.
That's it. That's right. That's exactly right. And that's it. End of story. End of game. Thanks everybody for joining us. Join us again next year, and we'll be back for the New Year's Christmas podcast. I think Joe's gone. He's fallen asleep.
Did you? Was that a recording or was that you, Shining?
Oh, that was a recording. Did it sound
Okay.
good?
What did I miss?
You missed all this chicory tomfoolery while you was gone. Would you a penis?
Did you guys poon me while I muted?
Yes.
Yeah.
We said Traversable. If you agree, keep quiet.
Okay.
So many people that you just wait.
So am I gay now?
You know how bitches be. We talk about you behind your back.
Oh, damn.
I heard he's gay.
I heard he's gay. That's because I'm Mgtow. All Mgtows are gay.
Yeah. Well, one last subject. Something that I used to always ask guys. I asked Barbarossa this. I asked Paul Proteus in my early podcasts. It's quite apt that over a year later I'm asking you guys. But yeah, the future of Mgtow. Where you see men going? Where do you see Mgtow going? Where do you see the Western society gynocracy going in? Whether it's going to reach critical mass or there's going to reach a point where the system's just not going to work, or are they going to adapt, or is Mgtow going to be outlawed? Are we all just going to carry on down this ever spiraling, screwed up case of destruction? Yeah. Where do you see it happening,
everywhere.
guys? Where's it going? Shit everywhere.
Shit everywhere. Okay, yeah. I think it's going to take a lot more shit everywhere before people start seeing it.
I don't know. Last year, our government. I don't know if I've said this to you guys before. Our government made such harsh cutbacks that people were literally dying. Hundreds were dying every week.
Yeah, I've seen that.
They were literally dying because they had no care, they had no food, they had no energy, no fuel, the gas, the electricity, everything had been cut off.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's the millennial answer to this. We're just gonna kill all the the old people.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
I think it's a great question. I think Mgtow. It's kind of, it might sound a little grandiose, it might sound a little over the top, but I would say that that little thing that's happening in Mgtow here, this little collection of a few thousand guys talking, and is the most important thing kind of happening, like socially, on the internet, internationally. I think it's really the most important thing, because the future is extremely dismal unless there's something that could change it. And to me, the only thing that could change it is men like they're this minded and then multiplying out. So in terms of the future, I think we can see some growth in Mgtow, masculine-minded men that may be able to start to turn the tide, and that's the best I could offer.
Yeah, but how will Mgtow turn the tide?
Well, by undermining, that's what it's very important. It's so younger men. Here's a good example. If you were of our generation, you got a job in a corporation. You went to school and you did the normal thing. But if you were growing up right now and you were exposed to Mgtow understanding or red pill, whatever, you might be thinking, you know what? I don't want to go work for a gynocentric corporation. I don't want to go work for I don't want to.
Yeah. It's
all corrupt, and so you start doing things that are more independent and more insulated from the from everything that's fucked up. Like start your own business that's not dependent on social justice approval. You do something that is very, it's just it's independent and it's not corruptible, or it's less corruptible. So, I mean, how does it happen? It happens by men undermining the system, just complying less and less and less, and having the tools, like we were talking earlier about when you're dealing with cops or whatever, if you know your rights, if you know your tools, that you save yourself a lot of grief. And I think those are out there more and more. So again, it's changing the culture. That's the key thing.
Yeah, we got to stop buying lighter than air products from females. You know, metaphysical
Traversable,
happiness.
you've been around for probably longer than most of us. I mean, where do you see MGTOW heading? I mean, where do you see MGTOW and society heading? You think MGTOW, you think men are gonna reclaim their balls back? You think MGTOW's gonna put men back on the?
You know, it's so hard to say. I think a percentage of men will get it, and a larger percentage will start getting it. Like you said, I see real, I see real results out here in society, and I even see MGTOW pop up a lot now, and they talk about it like it's not MGTOW, but I see their attitudes, and I see what we're saying. Slightly, some people are starting to say, but they're narcissistic, and they want, you know, what we have to do is let it be their idea, you know, and then as soon as it's their idea, they'll embrace it, but they don't want to hear it from us. They just don't want to hear it from us, and
Right.
so we keep pushing it, and it keeps growing. And as soon as it becomes their idea, they're so narcissistic, and they're so power driven. As soon as it's their idea, they'll implement it, whatever that it is.
Yeah. And another thing that may be helpful or have a little bit of light to it is you do have, what we've seen with kind of the libertarian movement. There is a certain groundswell, and you call it universities or with the youth or whatever,
Right.
but this, where they're embracing these principles. There is a small groundswell that re-embraces the principles that actually work, like
Right.
independence.
They're calling it red pill now, like they invented it.
Right.
And it was just Mgtow. The red pill was always with Mgtow, and it started from Mgtow, and we started saying, and now there's this red pill, and they'll go, oh, well, red pill was around before Mgtow. Just let them think that. Because that's what they want. As long as it's their idea, they'll embrace it. But we do see this red pill mentality coming out, and let them think they invented it. Let them, they did the same thing to Tesla. Let them think they invented it.
As long as they go the right direction, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, as long as they go the right direction. You can't. What are you going to do? Because that's the way people are. That's the way they've always been. That's the way government's always been. They want to get credit for it. I can just see Hillary Clinton with her first red pill moment, and she'll go, "Oh yeah, I invented that.
I invented Bitcoin. That was me."
Yeah, that was me. That was the was it Al Gore thing? He invented the internet. Let them think that, because that's the way they are. Sometimes it's obvious to people. Sometimes it's not obvious to people. The red pill movement now, you see it all around. Oh, that's the red pill movement. They've always been around. No, they haven't. They learned that from Mgtow.
Right.
So
right.
just
Yeah, I agree.
let them keep going, thinking that. That's what we got to do. Just let them keep going and keep saying it, and keep saying it strong and loud. Because they're not going to do that. They're not strong people. But as soon as it becomes culturally okay to say it, they'll start saying it then, because there is no backlash. We took the backlash for them.
Yeah. And that reminds me of another element to the future that I think, I sort of foresee here is, media is so much of the culture. So if we could start seeing kind of like MGTOW type, like just imagine, you have a script, a screenplay, and you make a fucking movie, right? And right now, all that stuff is gynocentric. But you could also write stories and scripts and documentaries and stuff that were from a red pill perspective. And I think that there's a lot of room for that in the marketplace right now, because what we're tapping into is that, men, they're not aware of it consciously, but subconsciously they will respond, because this stuff is real, because the red pill world that they live in.
Yeah. It's like the idea of the movie A Father's Rights. You see it around once in a while. The guys go, oh, there's a new movie out of Father's Rights. And then everybody goes to look for it, and they come back and go, no, there is no movie of father's rights. And you go, yeah, there is no father's rights. And then they get it. You let them, sooner or later that movie of father's rights will come out. I don't know what they're going to call it. And they're going to say, hey, men are getting fucked here. And then, like I said,
Exactly.
let it be their idea, and let them just run with it. Then, and you can sit back and go, okay, my job's done.
Totally. Because, you're making a good point, Traversable. There's two ways that people sort of get new information. One is the direct way. You basically tell someone something directly. So you might like tell someone about Mgtow directly, explain it to them in a direct fashion. And a lot of times, as we know, we hit a wall.
Yeah.
Because people can't really interpret something when it's direct. But the other way is they get it indirectly, through the culture and the media. And so if they're just watching a movie, they're not being told overtly, but they're watching a story unfold with those concepts in it. Then they start to internalize it.
Yeah. And who invented that? That movie maker invented that. Yeah. Really, they were just listening to us. But that's okay. When I was a Christian back in my blue pill days, there was two ways to proselyte. You can go knock on doors and proselyte to people and tell them about Christianity. They usually reject it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other way to do it was what we would do when I was, and I used to be quite the hippie Christian, guys, don't hold that against me. We'd go into a bar and we'd go, fuck, man, Jesus sucks. And then someone would raise their head that never even read the Bible before in his life or hasn't read it in 10 years, and they go, hey, man, you're not allowed to say that. And we go, no, Jesus fucking sucks. You know what it says in this passage? And then you got 10 guys in that bar running to their Bible that night, looking up that passage so they can be right.
It's like that thing where
male ego.
It was male ego. You got to let male ego run its course here.
Yeah.
You tell people not to look at something or to read something, and they will. And you tell
Don't
people
press that red button. Yeah. Don't press that red button because a bucket of water, it's the Bugs Bunny thing, is going to fall on your head. Yeah, and then you'll sit there and go, maybe not. Nah. Just say, don't do this. And they'll do it. Every time they'll press that button and that bucket of water will fall on their head. Or don't pull the string. Bugs Bunny joke,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or don't go down that road.
Don't go down that road.
Off.
Yeah.
Turn off the next.
Yeah, they'll learn from negation then. There's two ways people learn. They learn from positive reinforcement and they learn from negation. Negation is if you touch that hot fire, it's going to fucking burn. They can accept it and be smart enough to accept it. But most people I find are really, their egos get in the way. They're narcissistic. Most men are, they want credit and just give them it. Just let them think it's their idea. That's the way I see Mgtow.
What do you think, Shining? Is there anything to be optimistic about with going forward here?
I think so. I think we should be optimistic, and we should rejoice, men. Yeah. Glory to men.
Yeah, we figured out most of human nature. Here we know exactly how. So you've been in Mgtow for a long way, 2 years. You can look at a person and know exactly how he's going to react to something.
So true.
I mean, already we've gone such a long way. I mean, the fact that there's so many men publicly saying, we're not gonna be your slaves anymore, you bitches, meaning the government. Yeah.
Hippie and trend. Well, maybe we need a rock star to sing it, or a rapper to sing it, and it becomes, bitches are cray. Will become, you'll have Papa Bear. What's his name from Channel 8 or Fox 8? Just going, bitches are cray.
I think a lot of guys would agree with me in that. I'm going along the lines of history repeats itself, and I think a lot of guys would agree that the circumstances and the situation we're in now is not a new thing. I mean, people have said that perhaps that's why Rome fell, because actually Rome was starting to grow their gynocracy. They started giving women the votes, and women became more higher than, for example, the slave men. Women were being elevated to the status of men.
Yeah, gynocentric cycles.
Yeah, we've seen this in the Victorian age, hence called the Victorian age, which brought on the new age of mangina, which was the age of romanticism, which just goes hand in hand with the Age of Enlightenment for some reason. And then we got all that horror that came out of that. I think it'll just repeat itself, like you said, in cycles.
Well, if you guys watch my videos, which I'm sure you guys are avid fans of my videos, and you've memorized everything I've said.
Now that you got one sexy bitch on there.
You bet.
well,
I
I've said
like
in
the
my
voice. It's smooth.
I've said on my videos before that I think the Japanese Sosaku Kodanshi's they're about a decade ahead of us, and I say that we should be looking to them to see how our government is going to react. Obviously, I said in my previous video that the way our government deals with Mgtow is they replace us with other men, i.e. the immigrants. So they open up the borders, they bring in all these men, and they make them men. And this is why I made, guys, Mayor of Mgtown, guys, this is why I made my last 2 videos, because they're making us shame these men into obeying the gynocracy. They're relying on us to keep the immigrants in line. Yeah, you better fall into our culture. You better worship that woman. You better do what she says. You better work so you can pay for the children. And this is why I made those 2 videos, because guys don't do it. You know, let these guys, you know, let the women, let the government destroy their own system.
Yeah.
You know, don't be part of it. You know, and this is why I'm saying Japan, they haven't opened up immigration, and look at the state they're in. They're saying they can't cope anymore. They're saying there's not enough men to run. They said this.
Yeah.
Their government minister said this. There's
Did he
not
really?
enough men. Yeah, she said. It's a woman that said it too.
Yeah.
They said there's not enough men to run the country.
Yeah.
Oh my
It'll
God.
happen. It'll happen, you know. But they're falling for the catch-22, like TFM was saying on that. They went. I can't imagine that American men will do what they did and fall for the catch. It'll just explode here, and hopefully that, you know, sooner than later, because I'd hate to hand this thing down to my children. You know, this problem.
You see, if we're not having kids, if we're not being productive, if we're not over being productive, because this is what they're relying upon, because there's a very good saying, you know, powered by orgasm, and you know, the orgasm, sexual reproduction is a huge motivation for doing anything.
You know, they can have kids all they want, but if they're having unproductive kids, and that's what's happening, is these kids are just becoming unproductive, you know, for the society, it's going to have the same effect. So from 2 ways, this thing is just imploding on itself.
You've got your CAD society and your dad society. The one is all alpha based and tournament based. You can have the government alpha, or you can have polygamy alphas, whatever.
Yeah.
Or you have the sort of monogamous dad based society. And we you know, it's very clear how those societies play out. You know, the CAD doesn't go well, and the dad is sustainable, you know.
But you see, Japan, which by the way in the 80s was, I think it was the 2nd biggest economy.
Yeah,
it was the strongest. And the technology that was coming out of there, you guys know, you know, Japan was leading in a lot of areas. But now look at them. Look at the state of Japan now.
Their economy's crushed now.
No. I'm sorry, Shana. You're not seeing it correctly. You see, the women are stepping in to do what the men aren't doing, right? So that they're lifting it up.
You see, Japan is in deep trouble now. I mean, you guys have seen the documentary. There's entire towns now evacuated. Nothing but a few old men living there. Whereas, I mean, back in the 90s, they were talking about land reclamation, where they were going to help the ailing population. You know, the population was going to boom, and they needed more land to build more homes. They've totally cancelled that. That's all gone. Now they're talking about how to encourage fertility, how to encourage people to get married, people to have children. Because honestly, it's a thing over there, and I think that's where we could head if it wasn't for the fact that the government are taking steps to counter Mgtow.
Yeah, it's amazing how that turned on its head 180 degrees. and quickly too. It's amazing. You know, I think, you know, you just made me think of the only thing that Mgtow can really do, I think, because the overall society is probably hopeless. It's probably like Japan. I don't, you know. So what we can only do is form pockets of sanity. That should be our focus.
Yeah.
Is forming pockets of like men who know what the fuck is up
Become
and
the system, or become our system.
become our system, just like you always say. Yeah, exactly. And it might have to exist within the broader, you know, corrupt pile of shit that civilization has become. But those pockets can be like, you know, like, you know, just sanctuaries, you know, like
Yeah.
this is right here, but we need more, you know, like this. And that's what the Ibmore guys always talk about. They're like, you know, going and just setting up like, you know, little communities.
Yeah, the John Galt idea. You know,
Yeah, the
I
John
don't
Galt
see it.
idea.
Yeah, I don't see it feasible at a level like that. But I see what I see is it's sort of the web idea. Like Joe lives here, has a house, he has a small business, he
Network.
a network. We start networking together, and then Joe starts buying from Bill, and Bill starts buying, or Joe starts making a bicycle tire, Bill makes a fork, Jim makes a frame, Bob paints them,
Toilet seat.
you know, and it goes like that, and then we start developing our own system where we employ ourselves. We have businesses underneath a structure of a web that is very invisible, and then it's like the Bitcoin thing almost too.
Yeah.
There's housing for men. There's we start making housing. We get a backdrop for men, and naturally the men will come here. You build it, they will come. Another movie
I agree with that.
reference.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. You build it, and they will come, and that's what we got to do is build it.
Are we doing it? Are we building?
I think so. Yeah, I think we started. We got a grasp. I think it's hard. Everything's hard at first. The society doesn't want us to. They don't want us to house men. They're not going to help us do it. We got to do it ourselves. As soon as we start getting, the funding in order the right way, instead of having, people walk off with the funding, and we need what we really need is a victory. Where something really kind of comes together and works well. I do think it is in the male housing thing. As soon as we can get a multiplex male housing that's housing 200, 300, 400 guys, and then giving them training to go out into the world, and then releasing them where they know the red pill philosophy, they know where to go get to work. It starts working. That's when we'll start seeing Mgtow work as a we offer food to the poor. We offer, and it doesn't cost all that much. It's not a 50% tax on each Mgtow. It just comes naturally. Men start employing each other. Become the system, and do it the right way instead of the system they got.
Yeah, absolutely. Does everyone agree with that? So can I get a what?
Yes.
What?
Ooh, ooh.
I concur.
Whatever happened to that? Yeah. Whatever happened to that disco thing after the late 80s or 90s where they're all sitting out at a disco and they go, what? Ooh, ooh. That became passé rather quick, didn't it?
The good old days.
Yeah.
I got a riddle for you gentlemen.
Okay, shoot.
All right, so a female walks into a club, right?
Okay.
And there's three guys there. There's a genetic alpha, right? So he's like really, just genetically primo, right?
Like a Sandman.
Like a Sandman. I've never seen him. Is he hot?
Oh, you haven't seen his picture? Oh, he's
got a dad bod? Okay, the alpha's got a dad bod.
Sorry, Sandman. He listens to us. I know he listens to us.
I know he's listening.
I think Truth Over Everything probably would have been one of those. But
did you see a picture of him?
No, but the way he kind of conveyed he was in pretty good shape and he was always working out and shit. I mean, I can only imagine in my dreams.
I'm so buffed.
Yeah, you guys want to see my man boobs? Yeah, my man boobs. Okay, go on with the joke.
Okay.
The riddle.
All right, so you got the Sandman in one corner, and then on stage and then on the other side of the club you've got a man who's clearly very wealthy.
Okay.
He's sort of average height, he's average genetic, but he's got money, right?
Mm.
And then you've got and then the third guy, you got a guy on stage, so he's like a band guy, he's a musician.
Okay.
Right. So a woman walks in and she's faced with three alphas, each of their own sort. We know there's a looks alpha, there's a money alpha, and there's a status alpha.
Mm.
The guy on stage is the statusy alpha.
He's got the status, yeah. Like. So we've got Sandman, we've got Mayor of Mgtow, the rich guy, and we've got Phil G, the nobody, he's a musician.
Who is it?
Phil G. You don't know Phil G?
No.
Okay.
Oh, he's a serious Mgtow man, one of the monks.
I might have seen him in the chat here before. Is he in the chat sometimes?
I think he's only ever come once. But yeah, he does music, Mgtow music videos. He's
I thought you were going to say Rockin' Mr. E.
Yeah, Rockin' Mr. E. Yeah, okay, yeah. So go on with the riddle before our viewers forget.
Okay, right. So the question is who who does she fuck? The genetics primo genetic specimen, the statusy, or the guy with money. Who does she take home and fuck?
I think A, the Sandman. Yeah, the
Sandman, huh?
Yeah, because it's the disco environment. She's just there for the one night stand. She's not going to be taking home the not so good looking male of Mgtow, even though he's got money. That's more the long term. She's just there for the short term. But
Yeah.
I guess,
She's in the club.
she's in the club.
I think she goes for the entertainer.
Goes for the Phil G. You're saying?
Yeah, the entertainer. They all like to be entertained.
That's true. That's true. Okay? So Traversable says the entertainer. Shining, you said the rich guy? No, the genetic
alpha.
guy. Right.
Genetic alpha. Yeah.
The monkey. Yeah.
Is that Bernie just walked in?
Yeah, that's Bern there.
Oh,
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Don't let me,
We're working our way through a riddle here.
yeah, don't let me interrupt.
The masculine mind has entered the room.
We can join Heartburn in this little riddle you've got here. Did you hear the riddle, Heartburn?
Nope, I did not.
Okay. Well, basically, there's this woman in this disco, and there's three men. She's deciding which one she's gonna go home with. There's the alpha male, the sexy Sandman type. There's a rich, not so looking male of Mgtow type, and there's the entertaining, not so rich, not so good looking Phil G type. Sorry guys, by the way, this is not personal. I don't not really know what you guys all look like, but go on.
Who does she go home with?
Yeah, who should go home with Heartburn?
Who's got the most money?
Yeah.
The money alpha.
The money alpha.
She's
So that's
going
his
him.
answer. Yeah, he's going
That's
with
it.
Yeah.
The money guy, huh?
That's it.
Interesting. So we've got a money alpha, we've got one for the entertainer, and we got one for the good-looking Sandman.
Oh, there you go, one of each. How about that?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, the real answer is she goes home with the PUA, Nico Chotsky.
Yeah.
Nico's hiding under the table waiting.
Nico's behind the bar, just got his eye on him. He's got his peripheral vision on her.
So now Nico's been reduced to PUA status, I guess.
Aww.
Yeah,
Bless you,
he
Nico.
put that Milo Yiannopoulos video up. It was very successful. I think it may have 50,000 hits to this point.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out.
So.
Oh yeah. Wait, it was a podcast with who? You're talking about
Milo. No, I think you mean Rolo.
Yeah, no, his
Rolo,
last,
yeah.
the last video he put up was
Royal
Rolo
Tomasi.
or as you call it, Trav, Rolo Tomato.
Let me look this up. Nico.
I'm just kidding. Traversable's never called him that. I call him that.
Rolo
Yeah,
Tomato.
well, he calls me Transversable, so.
Guys, I just realised, guys, there's no such word as transversable.
There's no
You
such
guys have
word.
made up a new word, you Americans.
Where's the grammar police?
Right here.
Yeah.
There's no such word as transversable.
Yeah, you don't transverse anything.
I wonder, what's the origins of that transversable? What'd you come up with that?
Oh, traversable?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to traverse something is to be taken to the other side, a mountain to a mountain, or like I like to put it, traversable. If you look it up, is a very scientific term. You're going through a wormhole. We don't know what's on the other side of the wormhole, but we're getting it as we go. We're studying it. We're looking it up. We're doing those things we need to do. We don't know what's on the other side of this thing, but we're the first ones to go through.
That's a good name then. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so there's a whole theory behind it of hey, when we get to the other side, and we'll send back the information, and the rest of the world can come through too.
Well, I like this subject. I mean, let's ask you, Male Feelings. How did you come up with that epic account name?
Oh, I thought you were saying how did I come up with the riddle?
No, epic Male Feelings.
Male Feelings. Yeah. So it occurred to me that it's basically because that is the essence of what cannot be stated, right? That's what's truly censored when we talk about male issues and male suffering and male pain and how males are just being fucked everywhere. At the core of that is there no one gives a fuck, and so to say the word male feelings is to say what can't be spoken, because no one cares.
Yeah, no one cares. Heartburn. How about your name?
I think.
Well, mine, I started before I ever was going to make Mgtow content. I started it just so I would have an extra Gmail account that I could just subscribe to random stuff on YouTube. But the logic of it, the word burn is after my first imaginary girlfriend, who was Thelma on Good Times. Remember the show Good Times?
Yeah.
Her actual name is Bernadette Stannis.
Bernadette Stannis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all. It had nothing to do with nothing. I just named it that. In fact, when I first started my channel, I had her as my avatar.
Right.
People wondered why I had a black woman as my avatar for a while.
I've seen it used to be Heart Bernadette.
Yeah, that's right. I am like in some of those. Yeah, like depending upon what part of the YouTube it is, it's heartburn is taken by other people. So like my actual, what's that? When you can create the actual end of your YouTube URL.
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube/heartburn was already taken, so I had to name it something else.
Okay, so Thelma was your Nawalt?
Well, her and like Marie Osmond and it was before Mgtow. I just created that channel and I just started using it.
Okay, okay. How about your Shining? Where did you get your Shining from? Or is it what YouTube gave you?
No, it's actually after a game. Originally I wanted to call my account "Shining in the Dark" as like a little beacon of truth in the entire world of lies and masks and deception. So, but it was too long. Shining in the Darkness was too long. Shining in Darkness, by the way, is a very, very popular game. It's an adventure game. The funny thing is, I've never played it. I've never played the game.
You're a fake. You're a phony.
Yeah, I've never played it, but it looked like a wonderful. There's all these games I've never played because as a child I didn't have a lot of money, so I used to see all these games that I wanted. I thought, there's another game called Moonlight Madness. looks like a fantastic game. I never had it, but Shining in the Darkness was one game I thought looked really good, and I just never forgot the title. So I shortened it down to Shining Light.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember I got a YouTube account. It was probably in the late '90s, and I still got the same name and everything. And it's I put in my name, and then they give you your suggestion. And I got so angry, like the suggestions were so lame. I just clicked on one, and it's like, so every time I say it to somebody, I got to explain that's just what they gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys remember that when you were like trying to think of your account name or your email? It's like unless you got there on the early days, and I was there in the early days, so I managed to get most of the account names I wanted.
Yeah.
But then if you add in now, you have to really be creative.
You have to be creative.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
My original YouTube account was a couple letters, and what it stood for is can't find a fucking username.
You know what's funny? There's a couple of guys called Shining Light, and they're going around adding themselves to all the Mgtow circles. So I don't know. This is like some troll guy pretending to be me.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'm always amazed at how many names are taken up. It's like you realize how many people are out there when you come up with some crazy name and you're like, yeah, I want to use this one, and then someone already has it. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, you thought you were clever. You thought, oh, I know.
and there's 10 of them.
People's already done it, yeah.
Yeah, man, like large cock 922. That's gonna be original.
922. Yeah, and then there's like 921 people that have already taken that name.
YouTube says you can't have that one. You go, really?
Yeah, you can have 10,051 or
something. You can have big large cock 10,035.
Because that many people have already taken that name.
And then your ego drops because you're like, there's 10,000 guys with a big dick too?
Yeah, taken.
How can
so many people think on the same lines? It just goes to show you group think. Subliminal messages being sent to us.
Never take the suggestion because they're going to suggest like wrinkled cock.
Yeah.
There's someone in the chat. Truth Janie is asking. I don't know if you guys, anyone planning on attending Roosh's meetup day?
Where is that at?
Have you even heard it? I haven't even heard of that. Shani, have you heard of that?
Not that I have any. It's like
I've got absolutely no idea what the guys are doing over there.
Yeah, face to face with Roosh, what would you do?
I'd shake his hand. I say,
shake his hand?
Yeah, I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about the guy. I don't know anything about the PUA. Nothing.
You fist bump him and go neo-masculinity, bro.
Neo-masculinity, bros. See ya.
No, I don't know any of those guys. Nothing to do with me. Don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I walk up to him and he's just this. I know what he looks like. I know how tall he is. I know, and I walk up and he's about half the size of my chest, and I'm going, "What the fuck? This is what girls like."
I made a joke about Roosh and nobody got it. I made a joke on one of his videos, and I got all these flames from his subscribers.
Yeah.
I said, because he's got a book called Bang Poland and Bang Iceland and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's banging everything.
Bang German. I made this comment. It was just a joke, but they thought I was serious. I said, look, if a Muslim made a book called Bang Germany, Bang Iceland, Bang whatever, they'd arrest him. See, and nobody got it because obviously bang means to blow up. But obviously he means bang as in to have sex with.
Oh, now he's a terrorist. Because are you making ammonium nitrate in your garage, Roosh?
Bang Germany. Bang the world trade. You see, look.
all men are terrorists and rapists.
Yeah, terrorists and rapists, yeah. He's a terrible example of a person, is he?
Roosh?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because I really do think he is a rapist. I mean, me and Messenger kind of agree on this. If you got to sit there, Messenger says, he gave a story where he asked a girl like 68 times or something. On the 69th time, she said yes, What kind of victory is that? That's a hollow victory. You had to just you had to just badger her until she gave it up. And that is sort of like rape. That is like rape. You're just he's a pathetic person.
I don't know what kind of circumstance would you have to be in? I mean, were they trapped in an elevator?
Yeah,
It's like, did you have no choice to walk away or go home?
Right, that's so many choices. Yeah, you want to fuck now? You want to fuck now? And then she goes, no. And you go, let's now. Okay, and then 2 minutes later you go, are you ready to fuck?
What kind of circumstance would that arise? I just could not imagine that.
So are you saying that Roosh was the real guy involved in an elevator gate?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got Jessica Valente in the elevator. Or was that Jessica Watson in the elevator? You just like, we're gonna fuck. Yeah, we're gonna now. Right now.
What about now? 10 minutes later. Now? What about now?
Yeah, now? Yeah, we're gonna do this. You know we're gonna do this. Yeah. And it's like 69 times she's like, okay, and she lifts her dress up. Just poke it real fast.
Poke it real fast.
Yeah, I can't imagine these scenarios playing out in real life. It's like, phew, fuck. Life sucks enough without having to hear Roosh stories.
I don't know. He's got a big following. A lot of guys like him. A lot of guys listen to him. I think Thingy likes him as well. Who's that girl? Kevin Strawn likes him as well. Big fan there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all love it because they serve his purpose and they make all men. And this is what it is. Right. It makes all men look like rapists. He's just serving their purpose.
Yeah, and he's gynocentric to the bone. It's all gynocentrism.
Yeah, he's blue pill gynocentric to the bone. He makes all men look bad. And that's what bothers me because he does make all men look bad. And he's the guy they put out there as like, I'm like him. No, I'm nothing like him. I have dignity.
To be honest, right. I don't care. I don't care if he makes all men look bad. I don't care.
Have we? What's Bernie's opinion on PUA? I don't think I've ever seen a video on it or heard it. I'd be interested what Bernie thinks about PUA. Bernie, you there?
No.
Are you out picking up chicks?
I think he fell asleep.
Is that on PUA? Is that on game?
Yeah.
I struggle with it. I mean, on one hand, the reality is that the male sex drive is stronger than the female sex drive. Or to put that another way, more males want to fuck more females than females want to fuck males. You could argue that a female has a similar strength of a sex drive to fuck the few guys that she actually wants to fuck. But men in general, so they have this, and that differential exists, and the question of what to do about it is a legitimate question. And so to the extent that PUAs take a sort of aggressive approach, it's like, whatever. But then he kind of goes full cycle blue pill. First your PUA, and then later on life, after 35, he wants a traditional sort of situation with traditionalism. And so none of that is new. That's all sort of old news, so I don't really get the new part about it. That's why the distinction between Mgtow is new, but I don't see that as being new.
Right, yeah, there's nothing new about that stuff. There's nothing exciting about it, and it's just a trap to lose, and it's just that same old trap to lose. Don't fall into that trap. Well, right. Guys, we're going on like 3 hours here, and I'm expecting someone to pull up in my driveway any minute now.
And arrest you.
Yeah, to arrest me. Yeah, no, I got a dinner coming, and I got a friend coming over, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up if you guys want to.
Oh, sad. Goodbyes are so sad.
Yeah, did you guys want to continue talking, and will you continue talking after I hit my button?
So sad.
I could go either way, It's been. I don't know. Bern just got in. Should we give Bern a little more time on here?
Okay. I don't know if it'll continue. And there's my doorbell going off.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get out of this one. If it goes off, I'm sorry. And I got guests coming up the driveway right now. And guys, be strong.
All right, buddy.
Right on, Traversable. See you next time, man.
Okay.
Beep.
I wonder if it.
we're still on
Are we
live.
still on?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, still
I
on.
wonder if that's a hot date he's got coming over there,
He's got
Traversable, huh?
yeah, the sexy lady that he picked up from his YouTube channel.
The feminist troll.
But you know, it's quite common now. Have you not noticed? Well, I don't know if you've come across any other Mgtow channels, but there's quite a few channels that are shutting down because they've got girlfriends or they've got female interests, and quite a few of them they've met through YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples being sort of, I don't know, is sort of Barbarossa. He's been kind of away from the scene for a while, right?
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing. But I don't know. I don't really know what to do about that. One blowjob away, right?
Mm-mm. It just goes to show you. I mean, me and Messenger, we discussed it. I said, how many of these Mgtow channels are genuine?
Yeah.
How many really do believe in the things that they preach?
Yeah, and that's why, like Messenger's channel stands out. Is he takes such a, the monk thing, I think, is whether or not everyone actually goes with that, at least it's out there as something to give, adopt, and yeah, exactly, and aspire to, or at least you can see the world through that perspective. And it's a very, the fully non-gynocentric perspective. Because in order to, you got to go monk if you're going to really be able to see the world without, some of your instinctive gynocentrism leaking in or whatever.
Mm. Yeah.
Something
and
like that.
And I think we really have to. I mean, to really do it, to do Mgtow properly, we're going to have to move away from gynocentrism in a very, very complete sense. You can't. Oh, I'll spend 6 months off women, and then another 6 months I'll be dating and doing all that stuff that that men do for women. I mean, most men live like that anyway. So it's not really a Mgtow lifestyle. I'm not saying don't do it or anything like that. I'm saying really to make any difference, like the Japanese social credentials have done, you really have to do it in totality. We're not going to make a difference if we just do it half-assed.
Totally. And one thing I think, kind of a one piece that has to come into play in order for men to really be able to kind of separate themselves from the gynocentrism and vagina and women and all that is is that emotional component. A lot of because just the ability, breaking down that barrier that separates men emotionally, because men can't really relate emotionally because we're all wrapped up in serving women. As that starts to come down, I think it's more possible for men to become less and less reliant on women, on females.
Yeah. The alternative now.
The sex thing is always going to be there. I don't really know what to do. The sex thing is what it is. But I think that men don't need. You may argue that men sort of need sex from women, but I don't think they need the emotional component. I think they can get that from men, from other men. And anyway, so yeah.
Mm. Well, the alternative
just doesn't happen because
it's like the PUA thing. Men that are half in, half out. They've got this red pill mentality to women, so they're gonna use the women. They're gonna control the pussy. They're gonna do this little half Mgtow thing, and obviously the other guys that half the year they're Mgtow, half the year they're PUA. I mean that's just gonna make women adapt. The women are going to change their game, and I think I've noticed this more and more too. I mean, especially with these stories coming out with so-called sperm jacking and more and more devious ways how to manipulate men. I hate to say, trap men into situations.
Absolutely.
That's all that's going to happen. I mean, unless you move away completely, the game is going to adapt. You think
it's going
that
to adapt.
You're playing these women, but these women. This is their